Towing specializes in heavy-duty and light-duty recovery. All Pro Towing is there for lockouts and jump starts and tire changes. Plus, they're available 24/7 for all emergencies. So when you're looking for a real pro, you need All Pro Towing. Save their number for when you need a tow. 701-541-3900.
It's a new year and a great time to remind you that you should have 2 routine dental visits a year. The best way to stop dental issues is to detect them early or stop them from happening in the first place. It's Amanda, and I smile with confidence because of the team at About Smiles Dental. They've been caring for my family's smiles for years. At About Smiles Dental, their name says it all. Your smile is their top priority. Plan ahead and call now to book your appointments. We love the team at About Smiles Dental, and you will too.
Rice Companies understands that strong buildings and strong communities start with strong connections. They know the importance of every bolt, every beam, and every handshake. Every connection must be strong. When you work with Rice Companies, you're building on more than concrete and steel. You're building on knowledge and expertise with people you can trust. People who value your investment as much as you do. Connect with Rice Companies, your local Butler builder, and experience the difference strong connections can make for your business. Learn more and see career opportunities at ricecompanies.com.
Sight on Sound knows car audio and its evolution over time. For the longest time, it was basically like listening to a conch shell. Then things got better with stereophonic sound. Then HD was next. Until now, high-res audio. Your sound system has never sounded this crisp, this clear. And you'll find all the cutting-edge sounds at Sight on Sound. With products fully in stock, a trip to Sight on Sound has never sounded better. Sight on Sound, Main Avenue, Fargo.
Bring it on home from Sight on Sound.
And it's booked. Wait, what if my flight gets canceled or the room is terrible? Ugh, what am I doing? Travel always has specials on dream trips. They do corporate travel, honeymoons, everything. I'm booking with Travel just to be safe. This week's Travel hot deal of the week is Europe's highlights with London. Enjoy 15 days in 7 countries full of guided tours. September 17th through October 2nd for $44.09 per person. Call Travel at 492-5000 or online at travelgroup.com.
Stop by Gateway Chevrolet and check out their great selection of in-stock Chevy cars and trucks ready for immediate delivery. Take advantage of invoice pricing on new 2023 Chevrolet Equinox and invoice pricing on new 2023 Chevrolet Silverados only at Gateway Chevrolet. Plus, find out about 2.9% financing on select Chevrolet models. That's right, 2.9% on select Chevrolets and invoice pricing on 2023 Equinox and Silverados at Gateway Chevrolet. Find new roads. Details gatewayfargo.com.
KQWB, West Fargo, Fargo-Moorhead, and KPFX, HD3 Kindred, Bison 1660. Powered by Gateway Chevrolet, Cadillac, Nissan, and Hyundai in Fargo.
We are Buckfork. And here's what you need to know.
Damar Hamlin is headed home. 9 days after suffering cardiac arrest on the field, Hamlin has been released from Buffalo General Medical Center. He'll continue rehabbing at home and with the Bills. As Buffalo preps for Sunday's playoff game against the Dolphins, they now know they won't see Tua Tagovailoa at quarterback for Miami. He's still in concussion protocol and has been ruled out. Coach Mike McDaniel said the team is prepping to start rookie Skylar Thompson, while Teddy Bridgewater continues to rehab a dislocated pinky finger. NFL media says Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson is a long shot to play in Sunday's playoff game against the Bengals, and he's not expected to practice today. He's been out since early December with the knee injury. Likely Tyler Huntley again at quarterback. Teams are conducting interviews for their head coaching vacancies today. NFL media says the Panthers have brought in former Colts coach Frank Reich. Indy is interviewing special teams coordinator Bubba Ventrone, and Jim Caldwell speaking with the Broncos. I'm Nick Cope.
You've got the Insiders.
How you play today, from this moment on, is how you will be remembered.
That's what living is. That's right. The 6 inches in front of your face.
Bringing you what you need to know and a whole lot more. Topics you care about, guests you know, and the conversations you came to hear. The Insiders are presented by Proceed. Need seed? Think Proceed.
This is your time. Now go out there and take it.
Now, here are the Insiders.
The Insiders.
The Insiders.
The Insiders.
Insiders.
Rob Hipp and Andy Rickoff.
Fun day ahead. Couple hours of some sports talk for you here on Bison 1660. Welcome back in. It is the Insiders, Andy Rickoff, and he has returned, ladies and gentlemen, back again in the Theraldson Ethanol broadcast studio. Micah Bindi back with us.
Give myself a crowd cheer.
You should. Andy, you remembered how to turn the board live after like a week of not doing it.
Yeah, just a few clicks here and there. It's just like, let's tap into that little memory bank. It wasn't too hard to click board, live assist. So I have the power now.
So if you hear any dead air or commercials playing on top of each other, we know why. Micah, this is the classic sports question, really. This is a classic all-time sports question. Is it better to have rest, or do you get rusty? The rest versus rust. Endless debate.
I'm a believer in that you start rusting. So that's why I don't agree with, like, if we talk about NFL Week 18, I don't believe in resting because you start getting rusty, and then you come out in the playoffs and you don't play well.
I think it is a team-by-team basis. Older teams can handle the rest without getting rusty. Younger teams, younger players need the constant play, and you're a younger producer. So I think you need a constant work. So I'm a little worried about rust today. I really am. I don't know what's going to happen.
But I'm a younger player, so I don't rust. Right?
No, it's the opposite way. Older players, they can take days off and weeks off and be fine.
They don't rust. The older players don't rust.
Younger players, it's not quite as ingrained. You haven't had as many reps yet. So I worry about younger players. People haven't been on the board for a whole year doing the show. Like, are you going to remember where to go to break? Are you going to remember all the little things, the nuances? I worry about that.
So if we have any gaffes, you can blame Micah Bindi.
Yep.
Tweet at me, call us, and it's like, Micah messed up.
Yes. Keep us accountable. That's what we want Bison Nation to do. We keep the football team accountable, keep athletics accountable, keep us accountable as well. We have a high standard on this show, and we appreciate that. But myself and Micah today, Rob is on the road again. Rob on the road.
In the air.
In the air again. Kind of on the road. The Skyway.
In the air again.
That's what he's doing. That's a good little baritone down low there on that one.
I fluctuate pretty good.
We'll let you sing a couple of times today. But Rob's on the road. NDSU men's basketball. They're heading to take on Denver, and then also Omaha on Saturday. That game against Denver is tomorrow night. It is actually an 8 p.m. Central Time tip-off, which means a 7 p.m. Bison shoot-around with Micah Bindi. And also Micah Bindi back on the wrap-up show. Cole Ilanimi did a phenomenal job filling in for him. Appreciate Cole getting on the mic a little bit and sharing some thoughts on NDSU men's basketball, but Micah back on that stuff for you tomorrow. And then Cole will be producing women's basketball with me once again tomorrow night as well. The women's team tips off at 7 o'clock, 6:30 pregame right here on Bison 1660 on the Pioneer Seeds Bison Radio Network. The women back at home where they have yet to lose this season, and knocking on wood as I say that on my head because that kind of counts at least. And hopefully they can keep that undefeated record going and stay with one loss in the Summit League.
We both have pressure on us, by the way, because now we're back, and these teams were getting wins because after the SDSU game, the women lost, and I was gone for the men's game for SDSU. Well, the men won, but then USD, who called
Kevin
Colhane, getting the win for NDSU women's versus the USD Coyotes, and then the men swept the state of South Dakota while I was gone.
I'd say there's more pressure on you and Rob. Because, you and Rob both had both games last week off, weren't on the board, and Rob wasn't on the call. And I think it's fair to say the men's team off to a pretty slow start before conference got going. Now, before you guys left, they did beat UND. NDSU got the win against UND. But I believe they had 2 D1 wins before you guys left. And then when you left, they got 2 more. So BJ Walters did a great job on the call. Cole and Lanemi filled in just fine over there. And when Cole's been on the board for the women, we've been winning. So there's some pressure on you guys. I think there is. But the women's team was already winning with me. Now, Kevin got a great call, a great game. So there's a little bit of pressure, no doubt. But I got a couple wins under my belt at least.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. And hopefully I'm going to have Josh Sash on Bison Shootout, so he's going to speak confidently. He's like, Micah, it doesn't really matter what you do. It's all about us. It's all about the team and what the staff and the players do.
You know what, Micah? Control what you can control. Control the controllables. There's your coach speak for the day.
Thank you.
That's my way to hype you up. Control the controllables, but also you better win because there's some pressure now. There absolutely is.
They play the Denver Pioneers, who we knew they had a good non-conference.
But their conference season's been a little shaky, to say the least.
Yep, they give up fun fact, I already looked at it here today. Denver and Omaha, who the Bison are facing in this road trip, give up the second and most points per game to their opponents. So they're 9th and 10th in points given up.
So a chance for the Bison to get a high-scoring game. You can listen in and hear a lot of some buckets, maybe some 3-point shots, some scoring. Grant Nelson could have another great game. Looking forward to all that stuff. And the women's team playing well, and I think they're going to have a couple of great games against Denver and Omaha at home this week. Again, the Denver game is Thursday night. Omaha is Saturday at 1 p.m., so pack the Shack. There's been some good crowds at the Shack for NDSU women's basketball so far. I've heard a lot of fans saying, hey, look at that record, look at the games, and they've gone to some games, and I've heard some fans that were listening to the women's game while they were at the men's game. So I think this women's team is starting to get that fan base riled up. So come on out. Come to the Shack and see some really good basketball. This team's really good. It's talented, and it's a good product on the court, so I encourage everyone to get out there on Thursday night and Saturday afternoon. Fun show for you today, and I'm really looking forward to this one. I look forward to every show, but there are certain shows, and you talk about complacency sometimes with football or different teams. Can you be great week in and week out? If I'm being honest, there's some shows I'm like, this just wasn't my best show, or I'm not maybe as excited for this one coming up, but today is one of those where I came into the office and I'm like, let's go. This is going to be a great show. I'm very excited about it because we've got Aaron Torres on. Aaron Torres media feeds Fox Sports Radio as well and does a great job covering college basketball in the national landscape. He's a big-time college basketball nerd, I would actually say. He goes in-depth on it, and we have him on a couple of times a year, and today is one of them. We're going to go over college basketball kind of in-depth. Now that you're at the end of football, that is all over, and you can really focus on college basketball. There's some Blue Bloods who are struggling so far this year. We'll touch on some of that stuff with Aaron at 11:30. And then at noon today, make sure you're tuning in at noon. Tune in for the entire show, but make sure you set some time alone, whether it be on the app powered by Thunder Seed, whether it be live on 1660 AM, 92.7 FM, whether it be on the website, bison1660.com, or you can watch on Facebook on our Horse Cam. Appreciate you watching. Horse Farming with Passion online at horse.com. Make sure you're listening at noon because we're going to do kind of a little bit of an exit interview, I guess you could say. And it's with Michael Tutsie. And we've seen the footages of Michael after the game with the post-game press conferences, and he's put some things out on Twitter and Instagram, just kind of thanking Bison Nation, talking about how much this has meant to him. He's one of my favorite players all time from a talent perspective and an on-field perspective, but also just like favorite humans, people to talk to and to interact with. And he has been nothing but gracious with his time while he's been at NDSU, gracious with it again. He's going to not only come on the show, he's going to come in studio live in here with us and give us a good chunk of time. So I'm very much looking forward to talking with Michael Tutsie at noon today. Encourage everyone to listen into that one because it's going to be a really fun conversation. I already know that because all the conversations I've had with Tut have been phenomenal throughout the years. I told him, if needed, you can bring Sarai in. You can. He said Sarai's already back in Indiana. Appreciate it, though. Spend some time with family there, and he's obviously working on what the next steps are for him, and we'll ask him about that stuff. Go down memory lane a little bit with Tut as well, but that's going to be a really, really fun conversation at noon, and one of the best guys on that team. And when I thought about players I felt bad for when that game was final on Sunday, Tut was at the top of the list for me, just because you never want to go out that way as a senior and a guy that's blood, sweat, and tears and that much more, and changed a lot from when he was a freshman to where he is now. Tut's one of those guys I felt bad for. There's other guys too, but Tut was definitely one of them for sure.
Yeah, I was in that media room for that post-game press conference. Didn't want to ask any questions, just wanted to be there, be present there, and just listen to what Coach Entz had to say, and whoever the players were, and it ended up being Cam Miller and Michael Tutsie, and pulled at the heartstrings. You felt the emotion, and yeah, you had the clips on earlier this week with Rob, and then I don't know if you played any yesterday, but
they played a bunch of them on Monday. Yeah.
Just it was tough to hear, and you could see how much Bison Nation and NDSU means to Michael Tutsie and what the players mean, and they're like Matt Entz's sons. They're part of his family, and you could feel that in that room.
You can feel it the other way, how much Michael Tutsie means to Bison Nation too, and we care about all the players, right? You don't want to try and play favorites. We care about all of them, but I think there are certain players. Cordell Volson was one of them last year, where when they come up as a senior on senior day, the cheer might be just a little bit louder, a little bit more energy to it, and maybe that's unfair to the other ones, but you're going to have those players I think have left an impact a little bit more, not just on the team, but around the community. And Tut's been a student teacher, done other things in the community. I think his story's been awesome, and again, someone that's been very open to the media and to the community too. Kind of builds that relationship, and I think he's one of Bison Nation's favorites.
And it helps when he opens up himself, where you feel like you know him so much better than some other players. When he has his daughter Sarai, and then you learn about Michael Tutsie's story, and then about her as well. You just feel like you get closer than other players that are in the program and that ones that have left the program too. But really excited to talk to Michael Tutsie here today.
Yeah, excited about that. So again, that is at noon. Make sure you tune in for that. A nice lengthy conversation, I would think, with Tut, and going to be a lot of fun to have him here in studio. We'll try and maybe do a couple of those, some of the other seniors as well, and get their thoughts. I know a number of them. Spencer Wagee, Cody Mauk, Noah Gindorf, Hunter Lipke. They're obviously going and training for things. They have that next thing on their horizon. I'm not sure on Kaiser. I know when I talked to Kaiser earlier this year, he said he hadn't necessarily completely decided if he was going to chase that or not. He was leaning towards, let's give it a shot and see what happens. This is my chance to do so. So maybe we'll try and catch up with Kaiser and see what he is up to as well. But Tut was one that was an easy first get, I think, to try and get someone that could come in and kind of talk about his experience. So looking forward to that at noon today. But you can be a part of the show. We want you to be a part of the show. Call us up, 701-476-1660. The Epic Companies hotline open for all of you today. Same number to text us, same exact number, 701-476-1660. You can also email into the show. The Rick Electric email inbox open for you at studio@bison1660.com. And you can comment on our Facebook page. The live stream of the show is up on the Bison 1660 Facebook page. You can comment there as well. We'll get to all of those things throughout the show. I do see a couple of texts already coming through. We'll try and get to that stuff as the show goes on. And we will be giving away some more NDSU women's basketball tickets today, too. So make sure you're tuning in if you want some tickets to NDSU women's basketball versus Denver on Thursday night at 7 p.m. and then on Saturday afternoon against Omaha, 1 p.m. tip time on that one. By the way, the men's team, they've got a 8 p.m. tip-off tomorrow night, a little bit later than usual. That's because it's Denver, different time zone. But then you also have a 12 o'clock tip-off on Saturday, which is a little bit earlier than usual. So some different times for NDSU men's basketball these next couple of days. So that's kind of the lay of the land on the show. Appreciate everybody chiming in here so far. I see some people on the Facebook page there as well. We're inside our Thoroldson Ethanol Broadcast Center. Thoroldson Ethanol produces 175 million gallons of ethanol per year and roughly 400 tons of livestock feed per year. You can fuel your future and join their growing team by going online to ThoroldSonEthanol.com. And ask and you shall receive. Look at that. John in West Fargo now calling us up on the Epic Companies hotline. John, always good to have you on, sir. What do you want to talk about today?
I'll be very brief. I hope Matt Entz is listening. Grant Olson needs to be your next defensive coordinator. The guy is smarter than a whip. You heard it from Cole Jurek. You heard it from, I think it was Coach Bowl, smartest guy he's ever coached. And great attitude, was by far and away for me the best Bison player to watch in his day. So I don't know what you guys think about that, but that's my where I'm registering.
There you go, John. Appreciate the phone call, and that's something we've heard from many fans. I heard on the text line as well, and that was the news on Monday. David Braun is leaving and going to Northwestern. By the way, have reached out to David. Not today, but hopefully at some point this week. If not early next week, we'll have David Braun on. Wanted to make sure he gave time to us at least one more time. And I mentioned this. I'll give you a chance to comment on it as well, Micah. But we kind of keep track of the Kansas State games as they're going on because Chris Kleiman's down there, and I think he left an imprint on this community, and obviously he was a great coach. You keep track of what Wyoming's doing because Craig Bowl and that kind of relationship. Northwestern's one now I'm going to keep track of as well because David Braun's been a great guy to have on, more than generous with his time with us here on this station, with me as well, every single week for Bison Game Day, and someone I've really gotten a chance to know and really respect the kind of man he is, not just the coach, but the man overall. And very happy for him, excited for him, and looking forward to seeing what he does down there in Northwestern.
For sure. And it's not just a saying. Once a Bison, always a Bison. And Bison Nation, I'm sure Bison fans keep up with Chris Kleiman, Craig Bowl, what they're doing. But now David Braun going to Northwestern, a great opportunity for him to keep growing in his coaching career. Super happy for him. I've never met him in person, so it'll be nice to possibly talk with him in the near future here.
Yep, so we'll have him on hopefully at the end of this week or early next week as well. He's very busy. Obviously, there's a lot of things when you get named to a position like that. Press conferences, other interviews for other positions on the staff now too, and that is all under his purview a little bit, along with Pat Fitzgerald, but extremely excited and happy for him. Who's the next guy? I'm right there with John. I think Grant Olson would be phenomenal. I think he would be great, and I've gotten a small chance to get to know Grant. I think, just like John said, he's one of the smartest football players. We've heard that from his teammates. We've heard that from people that weren't his teammates but were part of NDSU that have gotten a chance to know Grant. Just super smart. And not that he wasn't an athlete or a great, physical freak either, but he was just super smart. Knew the game inside and out. And I think he's a great teacher of the game, too, which is huge, especially at that linebacker position, teaching players how to do it. I think he would be a great fit there. I also think, because of the time frame here, you remember when A.J. Blazek left? It was like a month before that spring season got going, just because everything was fluky. And you kind of felt, not that they made a bad hire, but you had to be a quick hire, no matter what it was. So it had to be kind of a quick hire there and a shuffling of duties and responsibilities. You have a ton of time here. And, would you like someone in for spring ball? Absolutely. But if you're Matt Entz, it's not about getting a guy in. It's about getting the right guy in. We hear that about players. It's the same with coaches. Get the right guy in here. I think there's something to be said about getting a fresh look, getting someone with other ideas and principles out there as well. Not that NDSU needs to overhaul anything. That's not at all what I am saying. But it's never a bad idea to, get someone from outside as well. Bring him in. Every coach has been here. Not every coach. I shouldn't say that. But you think of a lot of the coaches on staff right now. They weren't at NDSU before. Noah Pauley wasn't here at NDSU before. David Braun wasn't at NDSU before he came to NDSU. You have guys outside of the organization, but outside the program that are great coaches as well. And Matt Entz is very connected in the coaching world. I'm sure he's always had a list. Those head coaches always have a list of who would I hire if X position became available, or who's a guy I've had a conversation with. That guy left an impression on me. It was a good first impression, or that guy was really smart. I kind of like him. I'm sure Matt Entz has a list there of those kind of things. I'm sure he knew about David Braun for a little while here. That could be a thing that happened, and I was aware of this. So I think there's something to be said about you have this time to use. You shouldn't just make a quick hire or decision. Again, this is not me saying that Grant Olson shouldn't get the job. I think Grant Olson would be phenomenal at it, and he's absolutely going to be in the running. I'm sure he's going to have a conversation with people about that. Might be multiple coaches on the defensive side that have those kind of conversations. But there's nothing wrong with going outside either and finding someone that you think could be phenomenal at that role too. I think there's also options out there. So we'll see how that process unfolds. Maybe have Matt Entz on, and he's give him a little bit of time here. Just got done with a long season, so I'm not going to have Matt Entz. Hey, can you come on tomorrow and talk
especially
about
when
something?
they have recruiting coming up.
Exactly,
and they got a lot of stuff going on.
A lot of stuff going on. It's as he has relayed to me multiple times. It is not the off season, not for them. It's definitely not. It keeps on going. So he's busy too. So I'm not going to have him on like today or tomorrow, but I'm sure down the road we'll try and get him on and see if the process is still ongoing at the time. Talk about the process and how you go about that, especially when you have time here to again make sure you get the right guy, not just get a guy, get the right guy, because that's a very important position at NDSU. At every school it is, but especially at NDSU, where you can say a lot of times you win with defense. Code Green's a big part of the success here at NDSU, and in absolute fairness, you just got done giving up 45 points in a championship game. So maybe some things on the defensive side that you want to change. There's injuries, too. There's a lot that goes into that. I'm not saying that they need to change their philosophy on defense, but there's nothing wrong with getting a fresh look either. So I think they're going to do it the right way. They're going to take some time and make sure they get the right person in there, and that right person could absolutely be Grant Olson. Wouldn't have any problem with that whatsoever. And if they were hiring a pickleball coordinator, he'd be my A1 choice because he's also phenomenal at pickleball. And I make sure I bring that up every time. I don't know why, but it's great. Him and Amy are phenomenal. I've loved getting to have both of them around this area a little bit more over the last handful of years. Let's take our first break, though. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Last night was the Golden Globe Awards. They kind of sneak up on everybody every year, I feel like. Maybe I'm just not a big awards person, like the Oscars, Golden Globes. I don't really watch them. But Golden Globes were last night. So I think we do the NDSU version of the Golden Globes. I think we do that today. A few of them when we come back and a few of them later on this hour, but we'll take a break and come back with the NDSU Football 2022 Golden Globes when we come back.
Champions play here. Your home for the Thundering Herd. Bison 1660.
So most companies claim they have good people, good product, good customer service, but the question is how often. We go the extra mile to take care of our dealers and our growers, and more importantly, their families and their customers.
ProSeed tries to bring a family-like experience. Farmers, we want to understand what their challenges are. We also want to bring products to them that help them overcome those challenges so that they can be as successful as possible.
Need seed? Think ProSeed. ProSeed.net, great seed at a reasonable price.
At Hanson Runsvold Funeral Home, one of the greatest honors I have is to be invited into the life of a family who has called on us during a time of need. It is such a blessing to be a part of a community that genuinely values a life well lived and the importance of honoring that life. Having been born and raised in Fargo and now raising my son here, I have a deeper sense of what it means to be an active member of our community. The bonds we share, the stories we live, make us who we are. Hanson Runsvold, helping families look to the future with hope.
Hey, business owners, you have your banker, you have your insurance guy, but do you have your door guy? Now you do. DavTech Window Services also specializes in commercial door and window repair and replacement. DavTech is proud to be known for their excellent commercial services as on the NDSU campus. Choose the door and window experts that will deliver top-rated products as well as the experienced technicians that do it right the first time. A decade of service with a century of experience. Online at DavTechWindowServices.com. That's DavTechWindowServices.com.
On the Rocks Craft Cocktails bring natural, refreshing, bar-quality, balanced cocktails to the ready-to-drink category. Natural ingredients, no preservatives. Like the Mai Tai with Carusan rum, the Margarita with Hornitos tequila, an Old Fashioned with Knob Creek bourbon, an Aviation with Larios gin, or get spicy with a Jalapeno Pineapple Margarita with Tres Generaciones tequila. Or maybe live it up with the Cosmopolitan with Effin' Vodka. On the Rocks Craft Cocktails. Hard to choose, easy to pour. Please drink responsibly.
Hey everyone, my name is Justin and I'm the general manager at Corwin Honda. I wanted to let you know that the wait is finally over and I have over 50 new 2022 pilots ready to sell and I don't want these sitting on my lot. So right now, I'll take up to $2,000 off all 2022 pilots and you can get financing as low as 1.9%. That's right, up to $2,000 off and financing as low as 1.9%. So come visit us over at Corwin Honda or shop online today at corwinauto.com.
Men's Hair Company is already super convenient with 5 locations in the FM area. But now, Men's Hair Company has a new app to make it even easier to get your appointment. Yes, you can actually get an appointment on their free app, not just put on a waiting list. Download the free Men's Hair Company app today. Just search for it in the App Store.
Experience the difference at Men's Hair Company. Visit one of our 5 FM locations or check us out online at menshairco.com. Men's Hair Company. Grooming for guys.
2 hours of sports talk every weekday, 11 to 1.
Well. Oh, my gracious.
Now, let's get back to the Insiders.
Welcome back into the Insiders. Today's episode brought to you in part by the Spirit Shop. Stock up for all your favorites for watching football at the Spirit Shop. Got a great selection of beer, wine, and spirits at the best prices, plus great weekly specials at the Spirit Shop, located behind Shields Home and Hardware off 13th Avenue here in Fargo, helping bring you East and Stick each and every week. And the Jaguars are hosting the Chargers this week in a playoff game on Saturday, and Micah Bindi told me before the show the Chargers are favored in that game on the road against a Jaguars team that's won 5 in a row.
I don't know if that can be too surprising, though. The Chargers were pretty hot towards the end of the year, too.
They won 4 of their last 5. If you stack the teams up, I'd probably say, the Chargers are probably the better team. But Jaguars at home, going to be a raucous crowd. That should be a very good game. That's why it's like a 2.5 point or 2 point favorite?
Right at 2.
Right at 2? Yeah. That seems right for either way, for me personally. But
if you put it on a neutral field, then you technically get 5-point favorites for the Chargers, 3 points for at home. And the Jaguars are still a really young team, and feels like the Chargers are super talented, which they are, and have a little more experience.
Getting healthier, Rashawn Slater, their star offensive tackle, they've opened up his window for practice to return from the IR with a biceps tear. He's not playing this week, but they've opened up the practice window, and their head coach said, not this week, but if we win, next week, absolutely. So they're getting healthy, and if they win this game and get him back, then they're really healthy. So
I'll say this. Doug Peterson could be the difference maker because Doug Peterson versus Brandon Staley could come down to coaching decisions.
These are the games of why you hired Doug Peterson. In the playoffs, he's supposed to be able to kind of outthink the room a little bit, and he's still got a young team. Quarterback has never been there before, but he won a Super Bowl with Nick Foles, so I would say Trevor Lawrence is probably better than Nick Foles. Hope no Eagles fans take that personally, like some sort of shot at them, but I don't think it's that big of a leap to say Trevor Lawrence is a better quarterback than Nick Foles. Okay, we got a couple of minutes here before we got to break and go to Aaron Torres of Fox Sports Radio and the Aaron Torres media feed, talk some college basketball. The Golden Globes were last night. Mike, are you much of a Golden Globes, Oscars, award show kind of guy?
Nothing. It always, like you said, it sneaks up on me. I never know when it's happening until it's on Twitter or the day of.
I'll probably watch the Oscars a little bit just to see if somebody slaps someone again. Be like, let's just see what happens. So somebody punched somebody this year. Who knows? But the Golden Globes were last night. I'm not going to go through who won the awards there. But I do believe there was a win for Ozark, which was deserved, and some other stuff in there. But what we will do is the 2022 NDSU football version of the Golden Globes. We have the best actor. You have like the best actress, best actor, supporting role, all that kind of stuff. Best motion picture, best series, all that kind of stuff. Your usual awards. So instead of best actor, let's go best offensive performance in like a lead role. Best offensive performance this season on NDSU football. Do you have someone that comes to mind, stands out to you?
Kobe Johnson, right away. Especially for his playoff performance. He was solid all year. You felt like he was always the lead back in the room. And when NDSU is a big running team and he can do what he did, especially in that playoffs, like I said, Kobe Johnson.
This one, I don't think it should be a shock, but I think he was just so dominant that even with the injury, I'm going with Hunter Lipke. I mean, he was so good.
Played enough for you?
Unbelievable. And I think he played enough. I think he played enough to prove that he was best offensive performance. Some of the catches he made on the sidelines, that wheel route stuff, he was covered making catches. He was trucking people. He was blocking. He was playing 4 positions a game, running back, fullback, tight end, like slot receiver. He was all over the place. So best offensive performance and then leading role, I'm still going to go with Hunter Lipke, even with the injury.
That's fair.
I think it's fair. I think it is. How about best defensive performance, leading role, leader on defense?
Ooh.
There's a lot of options here. I'll go first. I'll give you a second. I'm going with the guy that's going to be in here at noon. Not just because he's going to be in here at noon. But I think Tutsie had a really good year, maybe under the radar good. Solid tackler once again. The leader on Code Green a bit. A guy that stands out to me every game. Whether he was injured, banged up, he's suited up. I think that means something too. Best ability is availability. I'm still going with Michael Tutsie.
I'm going to go with the guy opposite of him.
Okay.
Dawson Weber, the other safety on the team. He just seemed like he was in the plays involved with turnovers, making some huge tackles, solo tackles in those games. He had that fumble return for a touchdown. He had the game-sealing interception. Had 2 interceptions in the national semifinals. So I will go opposite the other senior safety, Dawson Weber.
James Kaiser is in that discussion for me as well. How about best coaching performance? This is kind of like your best director of said film or TV series. Coaching performance. You have someone that stands out at all. That position group just seemed really solid all year. You can go with Matt Entz as well if you want.
Matt Entz would be the easy one. I will go with Matt Entz.
Yep.
Just for the reasoning of keeping this team together, keeping them focused throughout this season because of all the injuries that happened. It's like, hey, next guy up. And not only is that on Matt Entz, but he is the head coach. So keeping this team on track. And it seemed like right after that bye week, the team started clicking even more.
Yeah.
And
injuries, some losses, had to go through a lot. I don't disagree with that at all. I'm going to go with Cody Morgan because I thought both the safeties were great. Safety room, you had some guys moving around a little bit there too at the safety room. You know, Julian Wodarczyk kind of going down to linebacker a bit, some other things. Dom Jones kind of moving around. But also, he took on a new role this year. He took on the special teams. He was a special teams guy this year, took that on as a new role for him. And I can count a number of field goal blocks, one returned for a touchdown as well, and some good special teams plays. And Griffin Crosa was really, really solid. He was great all year. Caden Steindorf, other than that one little bobbled snap that still found its way through in the championship game, he was great as a holder, and also was phenomenal punting. I thought the special teams didn't necessarily win games, but they definitely didn't lose you games, and they were a reason why you won some games. Steindorf was great in the field position battle. I'll go with Cody Morgan because he had stuff added to his plate this year, and I thought the special teams was really good.
Honorary mention, Joe Bichorner, running backs coach, for the amount of injuries and just losses that that room had to go throughout the year, and then they had to start leaning, got a little thinner towards the end of the year, and they were still producing.
Yeah, so there you go. There's a couple of them. We got some more. Your best motion picture would be best game, best series, a few other NDSU Golden Globes for you later on in the show. But there's a best offensive lead, offensive, role player as well, a supporting role, offensive player, kind of like the best actor in a supporting role. We'll do a few more of those later on in the show. You got any nominees for those awards? Feel free to text them our way, 701-476-1660. We'll take a break, though. We'll come back, talk some college basketball, the national perspective on hoops with Aaron Torres, Fox Sports Radio, when we come back.
Champions play here.
You're vice president material. You're vice president material.
Bison 1660.
Men's Hair Company is already super convenient with 5 locations in the FM area. But now, Men's Hair Company has a new app to make it even easier to get your appointment. Yes, you can actually get an appointment on their free app, not just put on a waiting list. Download the free Men's Hair Company app today. Just search for it in the App Store.
Experience the difference at Men's Hair Company. Visit one of our 5 FM locations or check us out online at menshairco.com. Men's Hair Company. Grooming for guys.
Are you looking for a job where you're not only making a living, you're making a difference? Build your career in one of America's fastest growing fields, renewable energy. Next Era Energy, the world's leading generator of wind energy, is seeking candidates with electrical or mechanical experience for wind technician positions across the Dakotas. Benefits, pension, and 401k with entry-level wages starting at $24 per hour based on experience. Help shape the next era of American energy. See them at the Hired Job Fair on January 17th or text WIND to 25,000 or go to nexteraenergy.com to apply.
We love our pets, yet what they do to our carpet is frightening. Pets go outside and inside many times each day, and their paws carry in things you don't want to think about. Old dogs, sick dogs, excited dogs, they all have accidents. Plus, the pet dander settles in your carpet. Steamatic will clean and sanitize your carpet and do it safely for your pets and family. Call Steamatic today.
Steamatic, call 232-4707.
When it's time to find a realtor, word of mouth is important, and Todd Cattermas with Beyond Realty is a name Bison Nation says often. Todd has helped everyone from coaches and administrators to broadcasters and former players and their families buy homes in the FM area. So many in Bison Nation trust Todd to buy and sell their homes, and you can too. Call Todd Cattermas with Beyond Realty today or visit him at 4832 Amber Valley Parkway in Fargo. Todd is a proud partner and the preferred realtor of NDSU Athletics. Todd Cattermas with Beyond Realty, moving the herd one home at a time.
Don't let your profits get stuck in your truck this spring. Dirt, rock, let it slide with Super Slide. Super Slide is a plastic, non-stick, self-lubricating, and seamless liner that eliminates haulback in your dump box or dump trailer. Super Slide is available in various grades, widths, and thicknesses, and Horn Plastics can have you in and out in no time. Get your new liner now to ensure you maximize productivity and profitability in 2023. Super Slide from Horn Plastics, created and preferred for every job. Visit hornplastics.com to schedule your installation.
Missed portions of today's show? Go to Bison1660.com to listen to the podcast or find us on Facebook and Twitter at Bison1660.
Welcome back into the Insiders here on Bison 1660, also on 92.7 FM and our free app. You can get on your app store today, Bison 1660 app, powered by Thunder Seed. You can watch our shows as well live on our Facebook page, Bison 1660, via the Horse Cam, Horse Farming with Passion, online at horse.com. Right now, let's go over to our Epic Companies hotline and talk with Aaron Torres. Nice enough to give us some time to talk some college hoops at the national perspective as college football comes to an end. College basketball has already been going for a while, but it picks up in earnest here. Really, this week is one of those weeks where you really start paying more and more attention to college basketball, maybe doing some previews of what teams could be sneaky for March Madness a couple of weeks out from that as well. So Aaron Torres, Fox Sports Radio, and the Aaron Torres podcast, the Aaron Torres media feed. They're nice enough to give us some time here on our Epic Companies hotline. Aaron, great to have you on again, sir. How has life been for you for the last couple of weeks?
Andy, everything's great. How's things, I kind of know how things ended on Sunday for Bison Nation, but how's everything else otherwise?
Everything else is good. The sun still came up on Monday. That was the positive news. And you know what? Only 2 teams get to a national title. You're one of them this year, and it's not the expectation of winning a championship. That's what the expectation is here, as you know. But you got there, and now we just got to find a way to get a little bit better and beat that team that beat us. We got beat by a better team. I've said that a couple of times. They beat us well, and now it's time to man up, strap the bootstraps up a little bit and go get them next year.
Yeah, it was interesting. I was at the national championship game on Monday night for the FBS level, and it was interesting. before the game, I was talking to a TCU beat writer, and standard stuff when you meet new people in our business. We all do it. And I saw him after the game back at the hotel, and I said, "How disappointed?" I said, "Man, that did not go well." And he said, "Listen, we lost to a better team, plain and simple." Now, I didn't watch on Sunday, but I'm guessing that it probably wasn't as one-sided as what we saw on Saturday.
No.
But, I was going to say that is, I just think the reality of sports. There's one thing we love about sports, there's a winner and a loser, and if you win, you get to celebrate. And as you said, Andy, only one team gets to, end the season on top. And so, obviously disappointing for Bison Nation, but as you said, I don't think very many people have very many big-picture concerns about the program.
Yeah, first off, I wanted to ask you about that. You were at the national championship game. I texted you while you were there because I saw you were at it. I was thinking about having you on like the day after. Thankfully, having you a couple days after because there wasn't much to talk about after that game other than just how dominant Georgia is. Have they replaced, in your mind, have they kind of supplanted Alabama as the top team, the team to beat in the whole landscape of college football?
I don't know how that could be anything other than everybody's takeaway coming out of Monday night, because it's a few things. I think one, they have the back-to-back national championships. That speaks for itself. Two, and I think this is important, and I tweeted this during the game. This was supposed to be the rebuilding year for Georgia. They lost 15 guys, which was an NFL record to last year's NFL draft. 5 defensive starters drafted in the first round is an NFL record. And, really, Kirby Smart said in the post-game press conference, he said, I don't think this year's team is more talented than last year's. Now, they had heart, and I love kind of the fight and the spirit in them, but I don't think they're better than this year. And to be honest, if you look at that 2 deep, most of the key players outside of Stetson Bennett, Jalen Carter, who's going to be a top 10 pick, most of them are back next year. So this was supposed to be the bridge year between last year's historically great defense, at least, and what could come next year. And so the fact that Georgia goes 15-0, you could argue probably the greatest season in school history, I think that speaks to it, to exactly what you just said, Andy. And then I would kind of back it up by saying I think the other thing, too, is I do think there's kind of a quote-unquote mystique to them like Alabama used to have, where they walk into the stadium now, and maybe it's after the confidence of last year toppling Alabama, but they walk in with the mystique of, we don't just want to beat you. We want to rip your hearts out, and we think we're going to rip your hearts out. And so it's one thing to be a great team. It's another thing to know that you're a great team and walk into every game expecting to compete and win at the highest level. I think that's where we've reached with Georgia, and to answer your question, Andy, I absolutely do believe that they have surpassed Alabama for right now as the top program in college football, obviously something that's always subject to change.
It was interesting. You were at the game. I was obviously watching it then on TV, and Nick Saban's on the coverage on ESPN. He's one of the analysts there. And, that subject got brought up. I think David Pollack brought it up and a few others are like, okay, Georgia's the team to beat. They're the number one dog. And it's always interesting watching Saban's face when that subject was getting brought up of like, okay, I get it. I don't love being here for this.
What was your reaction? Because I saw David Pollack made some comments, but I didn't actually see the video yet or hear the comments. What was your reaction to that whole situation?
My reaction is he's right. I don't know how you could have any other thought to it. Georgia's beaten Alabama a couple of times. They have won 2 national championships in a row. They are the kings of college football at the moment. It's kind of similar at the FCS level too.
What about like Nick Saban's reaction? I don't really mean that, is David Pollack right or wrong? I mean, what was Nick Saban's reaction to everything? You said he saw his face.
He didn't say anything, but you could tell by the facial expressions. He's just kind of like frowned a little bit, had a little bit of like a frown of the eyebrows as well. Like, okay, we're just going to dismiss what I've done for all these years. You could tell there was a little animosity to it, just a bit.
Well, and it's interesting. And, I don't know if Kirby Smart is the best Saban assistant of all time. Because look, I mean, there's other guys that have left for jobs that are not Georgia, right? Lane Kiffin's actually, I think, doing an incredible job at Ole Miss. Ole Miss is a much harder job to have success at than Georgia is. So I don't want to disparage the other guys, but I did have that thought, Andy, of basically this guy, he was the one guy that could handle Saban. He being Kirby Smart, he stuck around for 10, 12 years. I mean, I don't know if you remember that era, Andy, but it was like every year, it's like, this has to be the year Kirby Smart leaves. This has to be the year. And he just kept waiting and waiting and waiting, gets the Georgia job. And so I just bring it up because is it possible, as you know, to the Nick Saban element of this, is it possible the guy that certainly learned the most under him, maybe was best equipped to be a head coach, also got the best job? And I think that could be very much the case. And I'll just say this is, listen, Alabama's not going anywhere. We did at Aaron Torres Online a way too early top 25, me and my staff. We had them at number 4 next year. And listen, if they win a national championship, nobody's going to be surprised. But I bring it up to say what I just said a minute ago is accurate. Kirby Smart kind of referenced, hey, we have a chance to be even more special, to continue to be special. I don't think he used the word more. But the idea, and I think people understand this, but for people who maybe don't follow the FBS level as much as you do the Bison or whatever, this isn't going to slow down just because Stetson Bennett left or whatever. This thing could keep going. And as I just said, the coaching staff itself believes that they have a chance to be even better next year, which is kind of scary, obviously. And like I said, this thing is not slowing down anytime soon as long as Kirby Smart.
I'm right there with you. I think it's not going to slow down. There's no reason it should. They look like a really, really good team. We had you on, though, to talk some college basketball because, as I said, this is the week where college basketball really starts to pick up in the national perspective because football is kind of come to a close now. So let's talk some basketball here quick. I mean, look at the AP poll, the top 25 poll, and the coaches poll. Both of them have really the top 5 is all the same. It's Houston, Kansas, Purdue, Alabama, Tennessee. So have those 5 separated themselves at all, or is there a separation at any point in that top 25 in your mind right now?
I just don't think there's much separation between, I don't even think there's much separation between, Team 1 and Team 8 or 9, 10, whatever. I don't think there's a great team this year. And I think that top 5 is a perfect, kind of example of that. Let me explain why. I think Alabama right now, they have a huge game at Arkansas tonight. But, I think Alabama might be the best team in the country, believe it or not. But they lost to UConn by double digits. But at the same time, they also beat Houston, who's number 1 in the country, right? So you'd say, well, Houston is number 1 in the polls. And it's like, yeah, but at the same time, they did lose, or their only loss was to Alabama, who's number 5 in the country. Alabama lost to a UConn team that's really good. So one thing I will say, too, about college hoops, and I know that people know this, but I know people don't necessarily pay a ton of attention in the preseason and the November, even December stretch of things. But the good thing about the way the sport is structured is we do get a lot of these best teams facing each other, whether it is in the MTEs, which are the multi-team events, the Maui Invitational, Battle for Atlantis type events, ACC Big Ten Challenge, which actually comes to an end after this year. So, I bring it all up to say we've actually seen a lot of these teams play each other, and I don't think there's a huge separation with anybody, especially now that league play started. Everybody knows each other. I'm a UConn alum. I watch every UConn game. They haven't had an easy game in Big East play since it started. Kansas, they were down 10 with 5 minutes to go last night and rallied to win at home. So I just bring all this up to say pretty simply is that I just don't think there's very much separation, and I think it's going to make for a spectacular late January, early February, and, of course, March as well.
See, I know I did my homework. I know as much as I need to about Aaron Torres. I knew you were a UConn alum. I knew that was something I wanted to bring up to you. Is UConn back? That was my next question for you. They got some nice wins. Top 10 ranked. Is UConn back for real here this year?
Well, it's interesting because UConn's one of these programs, their standard isn't making the tournament. And so it's funny because even coming into this year, like I said, in our poll that we did, I had them probably in the top 15. And I think most UConn fans felt like they were a little bit undervalued. They weren't ranked coming into the first AP poll. They weren't ranked, whatever. But at the same time, Dan Hurley, this is now year 5. Now, granted, 1 year was COVID. They probably wouldn't have made the tournament that year anyway. But back-to-back NCAA tournaments, 0 tournament wins. Last year, they lose as a 5 seed to New Mexico State. And so I just bring it up because I think back to a UConn fan, one, they're back certainly being in the national conversation. The Athletic just did a big feature story on them yesterday on the program. But back for UConn is competing for national championships. And not only competing for national championships, but being one of the best teams all year and then being in position to win a national championship. So it's not getting into the tournament as a 7th seed and getting hot. It's being good all year and competing at the highest level. And so I think that was kind of the next natural step for Dan Hurley. As I said a minute ago, Andy, back-to-back NCAA tournaments without a win. I think UConn fans were hoping for like a second weekend Sweet 16 type year. But obviously with the way things are going now, I think everybody's got their sights on Houston. And the other thing to keep in mind, too, with UConn, and I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but the East region, the Sweet 16 and Elite Eight are going to be played at Madison Square Garden, which is basically a UConn home away from home. And so I think a lot of fans think if we can get into that East region, we like our pathway to Houston for the Final Four. Again, don't want to get ahead of ourselves, especially because right now they're not even in first place in the Big East, let alone, I think they're on the 2 line in Joe Lunardi's latest bracket. But I just bring it up to say there's a lot of enthusiasm, but that is what being back to UConn is competing at the highest level. They're doing it in the regular season. Now you got to do it in the postseason as well.
By the way, watch out. UConn football, 6-6 regular season. Jim Moore got that thing going, got it cooking a little bit, got to a bowl game this year. Watch out.
People were very excited, man. And that's part of what annoys me about some of the discourse about college football at the FBS level is, meaningless bowl games. Don't tell that to a UConn fan. I mean, I had friends and family that went down to Myrtle Beach for that bowl game. Kansas fans at the Liberty Bowl. TCU fans. I know TCU's probably not a good example because they were playing for a national championship. But, people care about this stuff, man. And so I think UConn's a great example of, how important college football is to so many communities. Obviously, even as an alum, you understand that people think of UConn as a basketball school, and they should, men's and women's. But at the same time, don't tell me that game was meaningless for the thousands of UConn fans who attended. And then, beyond that, also the players that a lot of those players had been through 1-win seasons, a canceled season in 2020 because of COVID. Don't tell me that meant nothing to them.
Right there with you. Again, Aaron Torres with us. Find him on Twitter, Aaron_Torres as well. Great work on Fox Sports Radio and Aaron Torres media feed. But want to go about some of the teams on the other side. We've talked about the top teams, top 5, UConn playing well. Other side of things, and one thing you brought up to my attention a little bit and wanted to make sure we brought up was Kentucky. We were texting back and forth, and you said we can talk about the implosion of the Kentucky basketball team, not ranked in the top 25. And so far this year, I got 10-6 record, 1-3 in conference. Is there something to be worried about with Calipari and the Wildcats?
Well, I think it's beyond worry. You had people last night at Rupp Arena holding up signs, having signs confiscated that said "Go to Texas." Of course, the Texas job opened with the Chris Beard situation down there. It's really bad and it's really toxic. And I think, the outside only sees the negative of it. But this isn't, a third-year football coach that the fan base wants gone. This is a living legend. And I just think, the fans hold their program to a really high standard, and they don't want to see it end like this. But they also don't want to see their program implode. Where, listen, it's one thing to lose to South Carolina. They had only won twice in program history at Rupp Arena before last night. But South Carolina was 7-8, and they were coming off like a 40-point home loss to Tennessee a few days ago. And so, why I bring it up is, Kentucky fans are torn between we love this guy. I mean, think about it, Andy. I don't know how old you are, but Calipari gets there in 2009.
Oh yeah.
And so, they win a national championship in 98. So say 98, you're 10 years old, okay?
I was 5.
Means you're born in 8. Okay, so you're 5. So you were 5 in 98, right? That's what you just said?
Yep.
Okay. So you were born in 93, so that makes you, 30 years old this year?
29. Don't short me. I'm still in the 20s.
Okay, you'll be 30 this year. It's okay. We don't have to sugarcoat it. It's okay. We'll throw you a birthday party. You imagine you being a Kentucky fan. You have no positive memories of your basketball program outside of John Calipari as the head coach. And so, we have, I'll give you an example. We have our team-specific pages for our media company, and the kid who runs Torres on the Kentucky page, he is a guy who's 22 years old. He's in college, and he said, he's like, my childhood ended last night. That's literally what he texted me. You have people that are 31, 32, 33 they have no positive memories. And you know, they heard their parents talk about how great Kentucky basketball was, but they never got to see it until John Calipari came. And so they don't want to see it end, but they don't want it to keep going like this. And so it's a weird dichotomy, and I don't know what the school does. You know, I have heard through the grapevine from people that I trust that if Texas called that it's gotten so toxic that John Calipari would listen and potentially leave. I just don't know why Texas would call at this point for a coach that's going to struggle to potentially make the NCAA tournament for the second time in 3 years this year. So, you know, it's really bad. It's really toxic. But I do think there's kind of a misunderstanding of everybody hates Calipari. No, they love Calipari. They revere Calipari. But they're going to hold Calipari to the standard that he set himself for the first probably 12 to 10, 11 years of his tenure at the school. So it's pretty bad. 10-6, as you said. They basically, their resume right now, their best win is probably against the Michigan team whose point guard got hurt in their game. They get killed by Gonzaga. They get killed by Missouri. They lose to South Carolina at home. This is just not the standard that and again, this isn't the standard that John Calipari himself has set for the program.
Right there with you. And I think when other programs started doing the one and done thing that he was kind of the ahead of the timetable on a little bit, kind of the starter of that trend, I think then, it kind of even the playing field a bit, and he hasn't been able to make those adjustments or get some of the top recruits every single year. Another team I wanted to bring up to you, though, was UNC. I'm a huge UNC fan.
Can I go back on that last point that you made for a minute?
Go for it.
No, because I saw a really interesting thread on social media, and it's funny, right? Because you know stuff, but you forget stuff, and then you remember it. But, I saw a thread on social media, and it was actually absolutely correct, is that basically, John Calipari essentially built his entire system around having super talented players that he knew he was only going to have for a year. And so it's simplified. It's not as complex as, say, a Virginia or a Purdue or whatever. But he basically said, I'm going to simplify things because these guys are so good that if you give me 6 months with them, I will have them peaking by March. Well, now the players aren't as good. They're staying longer, and they just can't use their individual talents to, kind of essentially beat whoever they're playing against, whether it's as an individual or as a team. So I think that last point you brought up, Andy, is a really important one. I also think it's why it's kind of an interesting time for Kentucky because they do have the number one class coming in next year in high school basketball recruiting, and they do have 4 of the top 10 players committed. And so that's kind of the push-pull with Kentucky fans is, do we give John Calipari, give him the benefit of the doubt this year, knowing that he's going to have the types of players that he's had success with? It's just a very, very, very interesting time right now for Kentucky basketball. And do we have time to talk North Carolina? Because it clearly was something that you want to talk about.
Yeah, we have plenty of time to talk about them. Again, Aaron Torres joining us here. I appreciate his time very much. UNC, kind of the same boat. They're 11-6. They're 3-3 in conference. Nothing that's like super impressive so far. But then I think about last year. They did the same exact thing. The same trick was kind of like up and down, not very good, go on a run late, secure the spot in the tournament, and next thing you know, they're in the national championship game. Is this the same kind of version of UNC, or should we be more worried with Armando Bacot now a little hurt, it looks like, as well?
Well, that's the last part. And I think the one thing I would say about North Carolina is I was a buyer that last year they were basically pretty good the last 2 months of the season. They were not good from November to like the 1st of February. I think they lost the first Duke game on like February 6th. And they were like 15-2 or something like that after February 1st, February 2nd, whatever that first Duke game was. And so I just bring it up because I was a believer that they had turned a corner, but it really looks like a lot of the same problems that they had early last year before they figured it out. Caleb Love isn't really a point guard. He's super inefficient at times. As you referenced, Armando Bacot has been in and out with injury and appears to have re-injured himself last night against Virginia. So they're one. Like you said, Andy, we have the proof of concept with them, like that they can turn it around. But, I mean, come on now. It's January 11th. We're basically at the halfway point of January. We're about 6 weeks or whatever, 7 weeks till Selection Sunday. It just feels like if you're going to make that move, it's something you got to do soon.
I'm right there with you. I agree. And UNC's done it before. They got the players to do it, but let's see if they can do it here once again. Aaron Torres, again, the Aaron Torres Sports Podcast. Find that whatever you listen to podcast to. Great information there. Appreciate his insight on the show very much. Aaron, thanks for the time. Appreciate this. Lengthy conversations on college basketball are always great, so we'll make sure to do it again in the not-so-distant future.
Andy, thank you for the time, man. Have a great afternoon.
There he is, Aaron Torres, online on Twitter, Aaron_Torres as well. We'll take a break here. We'll be coming back to start off the second hour of the show. I feel really weird to say this. Former Bison safety Michael Tutsie will be stopping by when we come back. Or make sure you stay tuned right here to Bison 1660. Have Tut on live in studio for you when we come back here on The Insiders on Bison 1660. As always, brought to you by Proceed.
If you're looking for a towing company that has graduated to the next level, you're looking for All Pro Towing. All Pro Towing specializes in heavy-duty and light-duty recovery. All Pro Towing is there for lockouts and jump starts and tire changes. Plus, they're available 24/7 for all emergencies. So when you're looking for a real pro, you need All Pro Towing. Save their number for when you need a tow. 701-541-3900.
Hanson Runsvold Funeral Home proudly supports the Bison and appreciates the commitment each student makes to its success. Whether in the arts or other campus activities, these students are our country's future and deserving of our support. Hanson Runsvold is dedicated to helping families look to the future with hope and remember what we do today shapes our memories for tomorrow. Add the Bison experience and live life to the fullest. Hanson Runsvold Funeral Home, an experienced and caring staff with a distinct attention to detail.
Here's your Red River Valley weather update on Bison 1660.
A 60% chance of snow earlier in the day for your Wednesday, then mostly cloudy with a high near 22. And overnight, skies will remain mostly cloudy with a low around 7. Northwest wind 11 to 14 miles per hour with gusts as high as 21. This weather update brought to you by Heartland Trust Company, helping guide families and businesses to make the most of their financial future and always putting their clients' needs first. Visit them online at heartlandtrust.com.
On the Rocks Craft Cocktails bring natural, refreshing, bar-quality, balanced cocktails to the ready-to-drink category. Natural ingredients, no preservatives. Like the Mai Tai with Carusan Rum, the Margarita with Hornitos Tequila, an Old Fashioned with Knob Creek Bourbon, an Aviation with Larios Gin, or get spicy with a Jalapeno Pineapple Margarita with Tres Generaciones Tequila. Or maybe live it up with the Cosmopolitan with Effin' Vodka. On the Rocks Craft Cocktails. Hard to choose, easy to pour. Please drink responsibly.
Are you an electrician? Are you looking for a change? JDP Electric is looking for commercial, industrial, and service electricians. JDP is looking for both journeyman and apprentice electricians. You could start your career today with a family-owned and operated business who's been serving our community for over 20 years. Full-time positions available with great pay and benefits. Call 701-232-1991 or email info@jdpelectric.net. Start your new tomorrow today. Come, be a part of the JDP difference.
The holidays remind us of what's important. Spending time with family, making memories with friends, and living life to the fullest. I'm Peter Stenjum, President of First International Bank and Trust. On behalf of our entire organization, I'd like to thank our customers and friends for allowing us to help them live first. We're extending the warmest of wishes for a joy-filled holiday season and happiness and prosperity in the new year. First International Bank and Trust, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
30 years and counting. CI Apparel, #1 in corporate, collegiate, and high school apparel. We've partnered with college bookstores and high schools to retailers to bring you high-quality game day apparel. Whether for work or play, every day is game day at CI Apparel with brands you love. Nike, Ogio, Under Armour, and the CI Sport brand. With competitive pricing and fast turnaround times, we help you work harder, play harder, and cheer harder in style. CI Apparel, 2121 43rd Street South in Fargo, and CIapparel.com.
KQWB West Fargo, KPFX HD3 Kindred, and K224FD Fargo. Bison 1660, powered by Gateway Chevrolet, Cadillac, Nissan, and Hyundai in Fargo.
We are Sports. And here's what you need to know.
Damar Hamlin is headed home 9 days after suffering cardiac arrest on the field. Hamlin has been released from Buffalo General Medical Center. He'll continue rehabbing at home and with the Bills. As Buffalo preps for Sunday's playoff game against the Dolphins, they now know they won't see Tua Tagovailoa at quarterback for Miami. He's still in concussion protocol and has been ruled out. Coach Mike McDaniel said the team is prepping to start rookie Skylar Thompson, while Teddy Bridgewater continues to rehab a dislocated pinky finger. NFL media says Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson is a long shot to play in Sunday's playoff game against the Bengals, and he's not expected to practice today. He's been out since early December with the knee injury. Likely Tyler Huntley again at quarterback. Teams are conducting interviews for their head coaching vacancies today. NFL media says the Panthers have brought in former Colts coach Frank Reich. Indy is interviewing special teams coordinator Bubba Ventrone, and Jim Caldwell speaking with the Broncos. I'm Nick Cope.
You've got the insiders.
How you play today, from this moment on, is how you will be remembered.
That's what living is. That's right. The 6 inches in front of your face.
Bringing you what you need to know and a whole lot more. Topics you care about, guests you know, and the conversations you came to hear. The Insiders are presented by Proceed. Need seed? Think Proceed.
This is your time. Now go out there and take it.
Now, here are the Insiders.
The Insiders.
The Insiders.
The Insiders.
Insiders.
Rob Hipp and Andy Rickoff.
Welcome into hour number 2 of the Insiders here on your Wednesday, making it through the week, getting you ready for Bison basketball coming up tomorrow and Saturday as well for both the men and the women. The men on the road against Denver and Omaha. The women at home tomorrow against Denver, and then home against Omaha on Saturday. Undefeated inside the Shack so far, so make sure you go out there and support that women's basketball team and pack the Shack for a couple of home conference games for them. But right now, joined live inside our Therrelton Ethanol Broadcast Center with a man that has meant a lot to this program, a lot to this community, and a man I'm really excited to get to talk to here for the next couple of minutes. That is, again, feels weird to say this one, now former Bison safety Michael Tutsie. Nice enough to give us some time today. Tut, great to have you in here, first off. When I say former Bison safety, does it feel weird? I got to think it feels weird right now.
Yeah, no. First of all, thanks for having me on, and always great chatting with you and sitting down with you. But yeah, it definitely feels weird. Definitely feels weird to hear that, and just knowing that it still hasn't fully sank in for sure. But I just always just think about how grateful and blessed I am to be a Bison. Just knowing that I got that with me forever and ever is just awesome. So I'm just still trying to let it all soak in and just enjoy my last moments here in Fargo.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to obviously enjoy, and I'm sure that last time on Sunday felt weird going into it, and even weirder coming out of it. Just no matter what the score would have been, but taking the jersey off for the last time would have felt a little weird. How long did you keep the jersey on until you finally took it off?
Yeah, I definitely tried to just keep everything on as long as I could. Even my helmet, I had to eventually let that go. But I definitely, I felt like I just didn't want to just let it to be over. I just didn't want it to be over. Exactly, like regardless of what would have happened in the game, like the score or anything, that none of that mattered. Just knowing it was the final time being a Bison and strapping it up in the green and gold. Yeah, it was super emotional. Just trying to take it all in, take nothing for granted, and it definitely took me a while to take the jersey off. I definitely just tried to soak it all in as much as I could.
And you should have. It was a great career. It was a lengthy career for you as well. When you come into a program, you're not thinking, I'll probably be here for 4 years. What you're probably thinking, and you end up being there for a few more of them added on to that. Did you think like coming into this year, man, it's felt like a while, or did it not maybe necessarily feel like it had been a long time?
Yeah, actually, everyone talks about like how it goes by like that, and like it feels like in a blink of an eye and stuff, but it really, honestly, it really felt like it was a long time. It felt like, I don't know, it did and it didn't. To be honest, it's a hard answer. It's a hard question to answer directly, but it did go by fast. It did go by fast, but at the same time, like being here 6 years, like I feel like I really soaked it all in, and I was present as much as I could be. So in that aspect, it did feel like I was here for a long time. Like it was a quarter of my life. Like I'm 24 years old, 6 years, so I was here for a whole, quarter. Yeah. To think about it like that, like just to know, like I was here for a long time. So I enjoyed every second of it, though. Like I said. In the post-game interview, I would do it all over again without question.
I mean, you definitely made the most of your opportunities here. It's not like you waited till the last year to start. You've been starting for quite a while, making impact plays. When you think back on your career, like early on, Michael Tutsie making some plays? Is there an early moment that kind of stands out to you those first couple of years?
Yeah, like when 2018, my second year, my redshirt freshman year, I was playing on all the special teams, and I just remember one play, like it was like kind of my play where I felt like like people know who I am now, and it was like a punt. We were playing South Dakota State actually. It was the first time we played them that year in the Dome, and it was a close game, and it was like a fourth down, and we punted it, and the guy caught it like inside of the 10-yard line, and I got the opportunity to run down and make a big tackle. So and it was like a big play, and I just remember just hearing the crowd. Like that was my first time like making a big play in the Dome, and I always remember that, just being a young guy and just feeling like what it was to really mean to be a Bison and all that, and that play will always stick with me.
Do you remember the first career interception?
I do. I'll never forget that one.
Okay.
Never forget.
Walk us through it.
Yep, Western Illinois.
2018.
2018. Yep, that was 2018 too. Man, I just remember knowing that game that Robbie was kind of his hamstring was kind of feeling weird. So just going into the game, I got a lot more starting reps just to prepare for if Robbie would go down. So I always knew that I was super prepared for that game, and Robbie, he did good. I'm pretty sure it didn't really bother him the most of the game, but we had a pretty good lead. It was like 24-7, I think. Like it was third or fourth quarter, and yeah, I just remember going in. There was like a timeout, so I was just waiting forever and ever. Like, God, can we just start? It was the first play of the drive, actually. I think.
Okay.
If I remember correctly. Yeah, because we were just waiting. I was like, come on, like let's get going. And then, yep, we called up a pressure. So in that pressure, like I was a hot player, and all that means is I'm literally looking at the quarterback, and wherever he goes, I go basically. So it was a pass play. Tight end. I saw the tight end to my side. He just ran at me. So like I felt that, but I'm looking at the quarterback. So I was just all in the quarterback, and he was just staring at me. So I just held there, and then we got great pressure. The pressure got home, so he had to let the ball go, and then he threw it. It was actually a pretty good pass, but I just undercut it, picked it, kind of bobbled it, but there was no way I was letting it go, and I just made sure I got my feet down, and I just remember getting up and just seeing the ref like signal good, and then seeing all my teammates like Shep running at me, James Hendricks, some of those old guys, and just like, man, this is amazing. Like I'll never forget that moment. And then talking to my coach at the time was Coach Clanderman, talking to him on the phone and just telling how excited he was. Like you got many more of those to come, man. And just hearing that, it was an awesome experience.
Did you just call James Hendricks an old guy?
Well,
yeah, I have to.
He knows he is. He knows he is.
Yeah, James has been awesome too. Getting a chance to get to know him a little bit more this year. Yeah. He's been on a pre and post game with us. For me, it's going to be that sophomore year that stands out. That stretch early in the season. I think he had 2 interceptions against North Dakota, non-conference game at the time. Interception against Delaware, and an interception against UC Davis. 3 games, 4 interceptions in that 3-game span. That one's always going to stand out to me early on in the career. Like, okay, this guy's he's a ball hawk. He's going to make some plays.
Yep. No, yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate you pointing that out. I definitely remember that. I just remember like that was my first year starting. So, and I just remember we played Butler, and then once we played UND, it just like, man, I was just like, I felt like our defense was so good. We had Jabril and Josh Hayes was at corner, Marquise. We had Tuska. We had some really good players, and I just I had a lot of good players around me. So I really just felt like people were just attacking me because there was not a lot of other places to go on the other side of the field or whatever it may be. So I was just taking advantage of my opportunities, and yeah, that was super. I'll never forget that little stretch. A lot of great moments.
And that UC Davis one was a very critical one. Yeah. That was an extremely close game. I think you picked it off in the end zone as well, if I remember correctly.
Yep. That's probably my most memorable interception of mine, just because of the circumstances and it being, I think they would have took the lead with that one, and just a great call by Coach Braun in that situation too. I'll never forget that. Yeah.
In the early part of your career here at NDSU, was there a piece of information that either you learned or a piece of advice that upperclassman coach or former player gave to you that stuck with you?
Yeah, I would say it's a great question. There's so many, first of all, but one that really stuck with me was Easton Stick. He said, I forget it might have been like just a team meeting or I forget what it was, but he was talking to the team and all of us, and he just was saying, don't ever let a moment, a bad moment hold you back from, the next moment to come, whether it may be in practice. If you make a mistake, don't let it hold you down. Like you got to just always move on to the next play. Like once you get to college football, you can't let, those emotions affect you, because then you're missing moments, and then you also might continue to make even worse plays or more bad plays because you're holding on to those plays. So just always to move on, have a short memory, and continue to trust the guys around you. Don't ever lose your confidence. Be confident in what NDSU has prepared you for, the coaches and the players around you.
Be a goldfish, because goldfish have extremely short memories.
Absolutely.
It's a good thing. Michael Tutsie with us here live in studio, and appreciate his time coming in here with us. For you as well, I think as you go on further in your career, you're playing more and more, you kind of have figured things out a little bit. At what point did you realize, okay, it's time for me to be the dude to start training up that next generation, to train up the Dawson Webbers, to train up the other guys? Obviously, Dawson was right there with you for this run, but some of the younger players, when did you start realizing that?
Honestly, probably after once Jimmy left, the 2019 season, after we played JMU, that's when I realized, like, I'm the oldest guy in the room now. I've played the most in the room, corner and safety wise. I mean, Josh was still there, but out of and even on the defense as a whole, we lost a lot of seniors. Jabril ended up transferring, and I feel like that's when I really, it came to me like, I got to take that role over now and take in what I've learned from guys like James Hendricks, Trey Dempsey, Robbie Grimsley. Those are just in the safety room. Then you can go to all the other position groups as well. But just knowing that was when it really came to me, and I would say definitely after the spring season, for sure. Like going into that 2021 season was when it really solidified to me. Like that this is my team. This can be my team.
You got one more quick segment with us?
Oh, absolutely.
We'll take a break. We'll get caught up on breaks. We'll take one here. We'll come back more with Bison safety Michael Tutsie when we come back here on The Insiders.
Always having a good time, but never letting it get out of hand.
I approach you from the front and kind of like, wow, this dude's pretty serious. Then I walk away and you're like, he likes to party with 2 R's.
You've got The Insiders on Bison 1660.
Red River Commodities is proud to be your local middleman between their trusted growers and their food manufacturing customers. With their top-of-the-line facilities, their cutting-edge technology, and comprehensive quality control, they produce the highest quality products locally right here in Fargo. Their new Sunteen sunflower flour is a high-protein, partially defatted, plant-based flour available raw or ready to eat. It can be used in a variety of applications to enhance nutritional value. Learn more about all Red River Commodities products at redriv.com.
No one wants to think about it, but winter is here. Make sure your vehicle is ready at one of the 3 locally owned Jiffy Lubes of Fargo. Oil changes are the #1 maintenance item that's neglected. At Jiffy Lube of Fargo, it's easy. No appointment needed. Just drive up and drive in for your signature service oil change and a free charging system check to ensure your vehicle will be ready when you are. Jiffy Lube of Fargo, where you can do more in a jiffy. Jiffy Lube of Fargo, proudly serving the metro area for over 40 years.
Since Nodak Insurance Company started, we've gone from paying by mail to paying online. Your proof of insurance in the glove box has changed to a quick tap to our online app. And as new technologies make farming more efficient, our coverage ensures you're always protected. The way we live and work has changed, but our values, service, and commitment have remained the same. Nodak is constantly evolving to meet your insurance needs and deliver answers where and when you need them most. Nodak Insurance Company. Agents with answers.
When it's time to make your next move, turn to Todd Kettermas with Beyond Realty to put the full court press on your home search. Whether you're looking for a quiet home in the suburbs or something downtown, let Todd Kettermas run the point for you in the search for your dream home. Call Todd Kettermas with Beyond Realty today or visit him at 4832 Amber Valley Parkway in Fargo. Todd is a proud partner and the preferred realtor of NDSU Athletics. Todd Kettermas with Beyond Realty, moving the herd one home at a time.
Businesses should know that Consolidated Communications has the only data center in the FM area that is SOC 2 certified. That means Consolidated has tested reliable systems in place to protect your valuable data. That's more important than ever with today's security concerns. Many business insurance companies require SOC certification at data storage facilities. You should work with a local data center that is SOC 2 certified. For scalable, cost-effective data center solutions for your changing business needs, go to consolidated.com/data center. Honor.
Stop by Gateway Chevrolet and check out their great selection of in-stock Chevy cars and trucks ready for immediate delivery. Take advantage of invoice pricing on new 2023 Chevrolet Equinox and invoice pricing on new 2023 Chevrolet Silverados only at Gateway Chevrolet. Plus, find out about 2.9% financing on select Chevrolet models. That's right, 2.9% on select Chevrolets and invoice pricing on 2023 Equinox and Silverados at Gateway Chevrolet. Find new roads. Details gatewayfargo.com.
If you need any professional advice, they may not be your guys.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
But if you need information on NDSU, then they got you covered. It's the Insiders on Bison 1660.
Welcome back into the Insiders 1216 here on the show. Appreciate everybody listening up today. We do have Michael Tutsie back here with us in studio. If you got a question, feel free to call in. We'll let you call in and say something to our man Michael Tutsie. I was going to call you James Hendricks for a second. I've been talking a lot about James Hendricks, but obviously Michael Tutsie. We do have a comment on our Facebook page, Bison 1660, via the Horse Cam. Great weekend, gentlemen. Thoughts from the bunker. Our coaches and team made it to the Natty after one of the toughest years with injuries and other things going on. That's from John in the bunker in Montana from a couple of days ago, but also another one here today. We'll get to those comments here in just a little bit. This one's from John, though. It says, Michael Tutsie, thank you so much for your dedication to Bison football. As a fan, you provided us so many wonderful memories, and you represented Bison on the road and the brand with honor. Thanks, Man FC. No doubt for you having success at anything you decide to do in the future. Once a Bison, always a Bison. From John there on our Facebook page.
It's awesome, man. Awesome. I appreciate you, John. Thank you, man. Like, Bison Nation means everything to me. That the people like that is what make the NDSU special, so I appreciate it.
Is there a game in the Dome that stands out to you just from that atmosphere perspective?
Ooh, man, there's a couple good ones. I want to say, God, it's hard to – the JMU semifinal, it's hard to beat that one,
Yeah.
I'd say. God, like, that one was
Destin's
off the
pick. Ooh.
Yeah, like, ooh, man. And just to be on the field during that, like you usually tune out, like, the crowd, like, during plays like that somehow. You don't really hear it till you're like running to the sideline, then you kind of start hearing it, at least for me. But on that play, like, there was no tuning out anything. Like, you heard it immediately, like, just the roar. But yeah, that game right there, and just the knowing that they were leaving to FBS, and it was the last time that we'd get a chance to play them in the Dome to get to Frisco. Like, so many circumstances. My like, personally in that game, like, it sucked for me because I had a thumb. Like, a broken thumb I was dealing with, or a torn thumb, and it sucked because I just played through it. But just to be part of that, and the Bison Nation showed up that day for sure.
That was definitely one of them that would stand out to me. That place was rocking. One of the loudest environments I've ever been in for a football game. And like you said, with JMU, the rivalry in their last season at FCS, there's a whole lot more on the line in that one that meant something more to all the players, especially all the seniors on that year's team. John in West Fargo calling in with a question for Michael Tutsie as well. John, you're here with us on the Insiders.
Yeah, you were a blast to watch, my friend, and best to you in whatever you do. You were focused and determined. It's fun to watch players like that. I have two questions. Tell me about your influence of your dad in your life relative to football and all that. And number two, how did you get recruited from Indiana? There's hardly anybody on the Bison staff roster from Indiana. So just talk about those two things. Thanks, Andy.
Yeah, thank you, John. Appreciate you calling in. Tack those one at a time. Your dad, who, by the way, follows me on Twitter. Shout out, Steve. Thank you. But your dad's influence and everything there for you.
Yeah, no, appreciate the question, John, and your comments. I really appreciate that. And, yeah, my dad, man, I mean, he means everything to me. He's taught me so much from day one. Like, as long as I can remember, I had a football in my hand, and it was because of him. He kept the football in my hand. He kept me around from day one. Like, he was always had me around his players that he was coaching. I'd be at the practices, at the games, and everything, a part of the whole 9 yards. And he had a major influence on me, always coaching me growing up, other sports as well, just always pushing me to be, to make sure I was always doing something and attacking something and being a great leader. Those are just a few things he taught me, and then he continues to teach me every day. Always trying to definitely help with the X and O's. He thinks he thinks he's as good as Nick Saban. He'll tell you, but no, he is though. He's great. He's great. He's great with as far as a coach with the X and O's, but with his players first and foremost. He's a extremely personable guy, and he has extreme passion for the game and just a people person. So he taught me so much that I'll always keep with me forever and continue to keep with me. So.
And how were you recruited from Indiana?
Yeah, that's a great question. The Bison actually they haven't really ever recruited from Indiana. I'm not sure if there's ever been anybody on the team.
I think there's a couple way back.
Way back when, okay. But yeah, so there was just a connection with an old coach that was at NDSU that my dad knows. He actually knows, and I was getting recruited by some FCS schools, and I just told my dad, like, if I'm gonna play in the FCS, I want to go to the best. So he knew an old former coach at NDSU, and that knew Coach Ince, and we were able to connect in that way, and they were able to see. He saw my film, and the rest is history. They recruited me from there and offered me a scholarship, and that's how that connection formed. So hopefully there's some future Indianapolis or Indiana Bison to come, though. So
yeah, you open up that market a little bit, and that's a cool story. How you just never really know how things happen. There's a player coming in this next year from Jamestown, New York. And that's another one that's like, head scratching, but just a weird connection. You never know how that kind of stuff happens. But again, Michael Tutsie here with us. You've never been in the studio before. What do you think of the digs here?
No, this is sweet, man. Awesome setup. Like, got the whole the Bison 1660, plastered up there. Got the ESPN going. I'm loving it. I love the Code Green. That's my favorite right there.
There you go. That was from a fan. He made that one. He got two more up there as well on the wall, but. It's part radio studio, part sports bar, we say. Just missing the bar part maybe of it. But plenty of TVs for you. We do have 3 football pictures up here. I didn't have any say in who got up there, but it is 3 quarterbacks. I think we maybe favored the quarterbacks too much.
Hey, that's how it goes usually in football. That's all right, though. Those 3 legends. I mean, can't really complain with who's up there. So.
Yeah, Carson, Brock, and Easton. You got to get some defensive players. Somebody up there on the defense.
There's some.
We got
Stanley Jones and Greg Menard back there.
Okay, they're kind of those are 2 separate pictures, I guess.
Yeah.
Greg Menard is up there as well, so do us some love to Code Green out there. But wanted to ask you a couple more questions and appreciate the time today. Just about your experience at NDSU. I think you've been pretty open about it. And obviously everyone saw the post-game press conference clips for you. I think it hits you a little bit more there. But just what has NDSU meant to you? And when you think about once a Bison, always a Bison, will we be seeing you around these parts maybe in the future?
To answer that, for sure. Like, there's no way that I can stay away from, Fargo, North Dakota, and NDSU, whatever it may be. If it may be coaching down the road, that'd be an amazing honor. That's something that I would love to do. But or maybe Sarai comes back to NDSU one day, whatever it may be, So, simply put, I'm a Bison for life. There's no way around it. No way I wouldn't want it any other way. I have such deep love for all my coaches and my players, and even just all the people that you meet in the community. Like, I mean that. Like, and for me, I got to student teach and meet people that way as well. Like, that opened up a whole nother doorway to the community, but it just means so much to me. This place is so special. When people talk about family at programs and just in general, like, this place, that's really what it is. Like, you leave a mark on so many people, and they leave a mark on you, and it's something that lasts forever. Like, it truly lasts forever. And just I'll never forget it. Never, like I talked about it. I'll never really be able to really put it into words what it means to me. Just such an amazing experience in a place that is just as a one-of-one place. There's no place like NDSU.
Give me a community story, because I think we know we kind of get it, at least the team, the players, the coaches, the tight-knit family that NDSU football really is. But like you said, you student teach. You've been around the community a little bit. You've been here for a long time. Is there a story from the community that will stick out to you as you leave here?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. There's definitely a lot. But one that really sticks out is a young man that I was fortunate to teach, actually. His name was Austin. He was at McKinley Elementary at McKinley Elementary when I was able to get fortunate enough to teach him. But just an awesome young man, extremely, extreme Bison fan, loves the Bison. And just when I was able to meet him and just see his family and see where he comes from, and just to know, like, the mark that I left on him. He told me one of the greatest moments of his life was getting to meet me and to have me as, be that mentor or that big brother for him that I was able to be. So to hear that, like, that's what sums up what NDSU is about, and what you can leave an impact on people in the way that you can leave an impact on people, and that one will always stick with me.
I think you guys on the team know that, that kids are looking up to, but you never really know it until somebody says it to you. And when he says something like that, I'm sure it stuck with you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it right there. Like, and you get so caught up in, it's a lot. It's a lot. College football is a lot. It's not easy. You're always caught up doing something, and it's hard to be in the moment. We talk about living in the moment, be in the moment, and cherish the things that, things like that happen, and it's tough. But when you actually hear, someone say it and you experience it firsthand, then it really hits you and it sinks with you.
There was a fun question from a fan that called in earlier, just asking, like, are you guys able to keep the helmets that you guys have, or does that go back to the university?
So I believe that we are gifted with one of them, with one helmet, and then we're able to buy one if we want. But yeah, so I believe it's through the BFPA. I think that they all get everybody one. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, we do get one. I think we get a jersey as well.
Yeah, there'll be some keepsakes and some mementos and something hanging up in the man cave in the future for Michael Tutsie, no doubt. Wanted to ask you, just a couple minutes left, and again, we appreciate the time, but like, what is next for you? I think we know, you got Cody Malk, Hunter Lipke, some other guys. Just what's next for you? Are you planning on taking that shot at the NFL?
I am. I'm actually, I feel like for myself, I owe that to myself to go chase that. And, I've wanted to play football as long as I can remember, and that's the best thing I can do. I feel like it's the only thing I can do at times, but I feel like I owe that to myself to go chase that dream, and I'm gonna go for it. So whenever that's said and done, though, it could be 5 years from now, a month from now, whenever that's said and done, I'm gonna get right into coaching. It's something I've been around a lot of great coaches. I was kind of born into it, my dad being a coach, but I do love it. Like, I feel like I would love it, and just being around football, continue to be able to be around football and help guys really, be great in life, be great football players, but be great in life and be great fathers and brothers and, whatever it may be. So, that's what's next for me, wherever that takes me, we'll see. But, I know I got Bison Nation with me forever. So that's one thing I do know.
So you're telling me that before we had you on that you're heading out tomorrow and going down to, I believe it was Nashville, you said, and kind of doing some training, and that whole process will be going on for the next couple of months for you?
Yep, yes, sir. So I'll be training in Nashville, just getting ready for the pro day back here at NDSU. So we'll be back around for that, and then the draft is in April, so see what happens there. Could be, could be a situation with the NFL, could be a situation with another league. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and that's awesome. I'm excited for you. I think you should take advantage of that opportunity and see what's out there. And I know you don't want to hang up the cleats yet. You're a football player through and through, so that makes a ton of sense. And hopefully the very best for you there. Just add to the list, man. There's a lot of pro Bison out there, so add to that list a little bit.
Yep, no doubt, man, no doubt. Hopefully, be able to be awesome, be able to be on that list one day.
You gonna see Dylan Radins at all while you're down there?
Hey, y'all, we'll definitely have to link up. I have to reach out to him for sure. So
there you go. It's a strange thing is as you've gotten more and more players drafted. I mean, they're kind of all over the place a little bit now.
Hey, exactly right. They're almost all the coast almost. So
yeah, you got like Tennessee to San Francisco with Trey Lance. Basically coast to coast at this point. Obviously, Christian Watson had a great first year. Cordell Volson a great first year, still going on. With the Bengals too, they're going to be in the playoffs. So
it's just crazy to think that I played with all those guys. Awesome. So.
Have you asked guys like Cordell or Christian that just went through this last year what that process like? Theirs was a little bit different than what you'll be going through, but
right. I've definitely been in touch with guys like Darius Shepard actually.
Yeah,
guy more a guy in my situation maybe. So definitely been in touch with him. Been in touch with Easton, Christian, all those guys. So Cordell as well. So definitely just taking any advice that I can get. Going through the transition in the process. So.
Absolutely, man. Wish the absolute best for you there. A couple of things left here for you. What is something that Michael Tutsie, sitting here right across from me right now, would tell freshman 2017 Michael Tutsie when he was coming into the program?
Man, I would just tell him, don't miss a moment and don't take anything for granted. Enjoy every single meeting. Enjoy every single pattern. If you know about that, what those are.
Enjoy. We told about that stuff a little bit from Zach Mathis.
Yep. So, hey, real deal now. Coach Kramer, shout out to Coach Kramer, but enjoy everything. And speaking of Coach Kramer, enjoy Coach Kramer. Man, he makes NDSU go. That's another. If you know, you know. But just own the moment. Own the moment. Prepare like you're a starter from day one. Don't ever come in thinking I'm just a freshman or I'm just a young guy. Prepare like the starter. Pay attention to the leaders. You know, take advice. Listen to your coaches, even if they're, you know, they seem like they're getting on you. You know, that's college football. And just enjoy your teammates. Enjoy your teammates. Love the guys and trust the guys next to you, and just never take anything for granted, and you'll be just fine.
Yeah, absolutely. You're graduating, or you're moving on here. Dawson Weber's moving on here. So the question mark, that's what we do. We do in the media. Well, what's the question mark? What are we looking at? So neither starting safety back next year. What does the future of the safety position at NDSU look like from your perspective? You're there practicing with the guys that'll be taking over your position.
Yep, man. I've definitely thought about it a lot too. Just, you know, thinking like, where's it gonna go? But you know, they'll be in great hands. You know, first of all, there's great coaches, Coach Ince for sure. I know we all saw the transition with Coach Braun going, so you know that'll shake some things up. But like I said, Coach Ince will have that taken care of, and you know he'll make sure he take care of his guys, and he'll get the right guy in there for the position. But I think, you know, you got Dom Jones, played a lot of great football. He's gonna, you know, continue to play a lot of great football, and you know he's gonna be like, you know, the vet in that room with as far as experience and with his age. You know, I believe he's got 2 years of eligibility left. So
he played a little bit of a different position this year too.
Yeah, he did. You know, exactly, and that helped him. That helped him as well. And that was just because Dom is that good, and you know he had to find his way on the field somehow. So played at nickel. Yep. So you know, I'm sure they'll keep him at free safety or allow him to be the starting free safety. And if he needs to move down at times, he can. But at strong, you know, it'll be interesting. You know, it'll be a competition for that spot for sure. There's 3 or 4 guys that, you know, could probably play that, would be in the position to play that position. So and you never know. You can always have a young guy that comes up. You just never know how that works out. The best guy will play. But I won't say any names on that. But you know, there's definitely guys out there at the strong safety that it'll be in good hands.
They know who they are.
Yep, they know who they are.
Yeah, and it's kind of cool. You'd be going into an off season where there's a true competition, and I think all of them know that. You probably knew that going into 2019, like, this is a competition. I probably have an inside track, but this is a competition. Yep. So spring ball is going to be a little bit fun in that regard for those players.
Absolutely, and that's how you should want it, man. That'll bring the best out of all of them.
And then lastly for you, this is something that our former colleague, a guy you talk with quite a bit, Keith Brake, would always do when he'd bring players in who are graduating. You know, we always say once a Bison, always a Bison, and obviously you're always going to be a Bison, whatever your future holds. I hope to see you at some point, either at a game or in Frisco one of these years, way down the road after a long, lengthy NFL career for you too. But 10 years, 20 years from now, whatever it is, what do you want people around the program, players, coaches, to say about Michael Tutsie? What do you want that lasting memory? What do you think you left here as Michael Tutsie's memories as a Bison?
Man, that's an awesome question. I just feel like, or I just hope, that people say that, I played with passion, intensity. I played for the guy next to you. If that's something that you can't see visually, that's something I tried to do. That the one thing that I was going to play hard for the guy next to me, like whatever it took, I was going to do my job and do it for him and do it for them. So, I hope they remember me in that way. That I played through adversity, came to practice and meetings and patterns and lifts every single day, and just was in the moment and owned it and led with great intentionality and was there for my brothers. So to answer like that's how I'd answer that question for sure.
Well, you absolutely did all those things. That is the legacy you left, and there's a lot more to it as well, but that's a good way to sum it up. I did, by the way, just so everybody knows, I did say Sarai could come in today. Yep. I was on the table. We could have had the radio debut, but back with family, and obviously that's a good spot for her too, but with you training for the NFL, it's probably going to be where she's going to be for a little while. But I really appreciate you sharing with us on the pregame show, sharing with everybody about what that journey has been like of fatherhood, how it's changed you, how this team has kind of rallied around to help you as well. You got a bunch of uncles on the team that were helping out Sarai throughout the year, so we appreciate that, and looking forward to seeing how she grows up and what she'll be like, because I know there's going to be a little competitiveness in her for sure.
Oh, you know it. So she's been raised by Bison, so she's a Bison through and through, and she's definitely going to have that chip on her shoulder as she grows up. So and like I said, she might be back here one day, being a Bison of her own. So we'll see what happens.
Talk to Jen Lopez and Jory Collins and all the other coaches around here. We'll make sure there's a spot for her, no doubt about that. We know we like our legacy Bison around this program, someone that's been here before, and that's really cool. It'll be an awesome story somewhere down the line. But, man, appreciate you. You know that. Been a lot of fun conversations. You were really good, by the way, right away. Freshmen aren't always good at interviews. You were good right away. Did you practice those ahead of time or something? You're just well-spoken.
No, I never really practiced. I always thought I was bad at them. I was like, man, I am just like nervous. I don't really get nervous at this point, but definitely in my earlier years, I used to be nervous and just like, I gotta say the right thing. But I always just took it serious. Like, I didn't just want to just get it by. Like, I wanted to make sure like I was being intentional and answering the questions with intentionality and the right way. So
you definitely did that too, man. Appreciate all the conversations. Wish you nothing but the best of luck in the future. I had a great career, nothing to hang your head about at all, and definitely going to miss you around these parts when we introduce the starting lineups next year. And we're like somebody else at safety. It's going to feel a little bit different for both you and Dawson, by the way, because you've both been there for quite a while. We'll leave it with this one as well. Dan says Michael Tutsie exemplifies what Bison pride is. Good luck in your future endeavors, and hopefully one day down the road see you in Frisco as well. But Tut, appreciate the time, and best of luck in that future, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Andy. Always appreciate you, man. You know I'm always here for you, so thank you.
Of course. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Plenty more to get on the last half hour of the Insiders next.
You're home for the Thundering Herd.
Hey, you got any left-handed football?
Bison 1660.
ProSeed experience is the people that we're working with, the hands-on. We're not a super large company, but we're a hands-on dealing with customers. I know most of these fields because of the time I've been covering this area. In many cases, I've covered with up to the third generation of operators on the farm, from grandpa down to the son that's being handed over to now, and we build our business on service. You take care of the customer and they take care of you.
Need seed? Think ProSeed. ProSeed.net. Great seed at a reasonable price.
Did you know hyperbaric oxygen can decrease inflammation and speed up your healing process dramatically? I'm Menley with Fargo's first hyperbaric oxygen center, Healing with Hyperbarics, conveniently located off 45th Street. We are celebrating 4 years in Fargo, and as the experts in treating concussions, brain injuries, sports injuries, and post-COVID symptoms, we welcome you to find out how we can help you heal. We have an FDA-approved device to diagnose concussions and can treat the same day to get you back to feeling better faster. Find out how we can help you at healingwithhyperbarics.com.
Hey, this is Brent Wilson, the general manager of Corwin Toyota, and boy, do I have news for you. After 2 years of inventory issues, the wait is over. A selection of new Toyotas are on the lot, and I have over 100 new units arriving soon. I don't want these units sitting on my lot, so when you purchase any in-stock unit, I'll give you an extra $500. Apply it to your trade, price of your new car, or use it in our aftermarket department. Choice is yours. All incoming inventory is listed now at CorwinToyota.com. Just log on, pick the model and features you want, and call us to reserve it. Head over to CorwinToyota.com today to secure your new Toyota.
Dakota Refrigeration, now known as DRI, has been serving Minnesota, the Dakotas, and Montana for over 4 decades. Locally owned and operated since 1974, DRI is a full-service source for your refrigeration, heating, ventilation, air conditioning, and electrical service needs. From the entryway to the kitchen, from hot to cold, from dreary to bright, DRI has you covered. DRI, formerly Dakota Refrigeration, with locations in Fargo, Bismarck, and Minot, online at DACREF.com.
Bourbon lovers are a distinctive group, embracing the differences from other spirits, all while expecting the rich variation of a good whiskey. That's why the Fistful of Bourbon folks, who have over 100 years of whiskey blending experience, are born to serve to those lovers of good bourbon, creating the masterpiece of blending 5 distinct bourbon whiskeys, sweet, balanced, and floral, with notes of cinnamon and licorice and buttery toffee. Fistful of Bourbon delivers a smooth, rich, full-fisted flavor like all top-shelf bourbon whiskeys should. See it all at fistfulofbourbon.com. Please consume Fistful of Bourbon responsibly.
Here's your Red River Valley weather update on Bison 1660.
There were some snow showers earlier today, and skies remain mostly cloudy, highs reaching the lower 20s and wind gust around 20 miles per hour. Overnight, mostly cloudy with a low around 7, and tomorrow, sunshine returns to the area with a high near 15 degrees. This weather update brought to you by Heartland Trust Company, helping guide families and businesses to make the most of their financial future and always putting their clients' needs first. Visit them online at heartlandtrust.com.
From the court to the field and everywhere in between. Your home for NDSU athletics, Bison 1660.
Man, that was a lot of fun. That was just good times. And there's other players we'll try and do that same thing with. Obviously, just like Tut's leaving tomorrow for Nashville, the train. Everyone else is doing the same things. The players who are leaving now definitely have a shot, at least, to compete for a chance at the NFL, and they should be taking that opportunity. So we'll try and get a few more of them on, but that was really fun. And if you weren't listening for the last 30 minutes, we'll podcast it for you. But Michael Tutsie was great. Appreciated the fans that either called in or texted in as well and had some more questions or thoughts for Tut. You can tell. That would happen with most players, but I think Tut left a certain impression on this community too, which is really, really cool to see. And a guy that I agree with our texter Dan exemplifies exactly what Bison pride is. But definitely a great player, and very happy to have had him on the show today, which is brought to you in part by Men's Hair Company, online at menshairco.com. Your home team for haircuts, waxing, shaves, beard care, and more, with 5 Fargo, Moorhead, West Fargo locations to choose from. Go with the home team for haircuts this football season. Again, online, menshairco.com. Went there yesterday, and Brittany fixed me up a little bit. Got a couple of home basketball games. Got to be looking good, to feel good, to broadcast good. So you had to take care of that, and Brittany did that for me. So there we go.
The hair does look good.
Thank you. It's on point. You can see on our horse cam on our Facebook page, Bison1660. I'm going to move it. Does that look better?
Yeah, you're dead center now.
Okay, there we go. Now
you're
I was a little off, probably. A little off kilter. Appreciate everybody chiming in there on our Facebook page as well, Bison1660. On our Facebook Live video, you can watch each and every one of the shows live there on Facebook. We do have a couple other breaks to make up. We're a little bit behind there. So want to make sure we're okay on breaks. Went a little along with Tut, which is totally fine, totally worth it. Exactly what we wanted to do anyways. But we'll take a break. We'll come back, and we'll do our second edition of the 2022 NDSU Golden Globes. Some awards to give out for NDSU in 2022. We'll do that when we come back here on The Insiders. As always, brought to you by Proseed, home of the Right Choice and Right Stuff programs, online at proseed.net. If you need seed, think Proseed.
Champions play here.
This man was a bona fide scrub. He can't play. No disrespect whatsoever, but I'm sorry to tell everybody the truth. He has small hands. He can't catch the ball.
You're home for the Thundering Herd. Bison 1660.
Brooks in motion right to left. Fake the fly sweep. Hand off the Seasport. Up the middle. Touchdown! Easton Stick.
Bison great and Chargers quarterback Easton Stick joins the Insiders each week to discuss his journey in the NFL and reminisce on some of his favorite moments in a Bison uniform. Our conversations with Easton are brought to you by Red River Commodities, The Spirit Shop, and Men's Hair Company. Each week, Easton Stick on the Insiders here on Bison 1660.
Who said dry January had to be boring? Stop over to Twin Peaks and grab a bottle of Heineken 0.0 for zero-proof sips and all the flavor you love. Plus, score one for just $3 when you add it onto any of our epic lunch combos. Are you a fan of Twin Peaks? Sign up for the E-Club to stay up to date on all things Twin Peaks and score free stuff. Signing up is easy. Just visit twinpeaksrestaurant.com/peaks-club to get started today. Twin Peaks, eats, drinks, scenic views.
If you're looking for a towing company that has graduated to the next level, you're looking for All Pro Towing. All Pro Towing specializes in heavy-duty and light-duty recovery. All Pro Towing is there for lockouts and jump starts and tire changes. Plus, they're available 24/7 for all emergencies. So when you're looking for a real pro, you need All Pro Towing. Save their number for when you need a tow. 701-541-3900.
The new year brings new goals. This is Scott Zlondik with Cornerstone Bank. This is a great time to review your ag operation financing for the year. Cornerstone Bank offers an experienced team that you can turn to as you navigate through 2023. We're a locally owned and managed community bank. We've been specializing in ag banking for generations. We find the best financial options for business, ag operations, and your personal needs. Come see us at Cornerstone Bank and go Bison.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Here on Bison 1660, we love delivering the latest Bison news, but we also love our studio home.
Back inside our fantastic studio. You can't beat this one, folks. We love this place.
Now our home has a new name, the Therrelson Ethanol Broadcast Center. Live shows and the latest coverage of NDSU athletics.
Director of Athletics Matt Larson joining us. Head coach Matt Entz with us in studio.
It's all presented by Therrelson Ethanol, helping North Dakota lead the energy revolution. Join their growing team by visiting therrelsonethanol.com.
About a month ago, we had some unexpected plumbing issues. We called Valley Service Mechanical in a panic and were pleasantly surprised with the professional that came to our rescue. He took the time to explain the issues to us, and you could really tell he enjoyed what he was doing and the pride he had representing Valley Service Mechanical.
When your heating and cooling needs help and your plumbing is on the fritz, call Valley Service Mechanical, 701-293-5701. Online at valleyservice.net.
Experience is what builds the future of glass at Cardinal IG in Fargo. Cardinal IG is leading the industry in the development of superior glass for the residential window industry. Their highly motivated and talented employees design and manufacture the best glass in the industry. This January, Cardinal IG would like to say thank you to Araz Khalid, who is celebrating 10 years, and to Cyril Dermian and Teresa Arap, who are celebrating their first year at Cardinal IG. To view open positions or to apply, visit cardinalfargo.com.
Are you looking for a job where you're not only making a living, you're making a difference? Build your career in one of America's fastest growing fields, renewable energy. Next Era Energy, the world's leading generator of wind energy, is seeking candidates with electrical or mechanical experience for wind technician positions across the Dakotas. Benefits, pension, and 401k with entry-level wages starting at $24 per hour based on experience. Help shape the next era of American energy. See them at the Higher Job Fair on January 17th, or text WIND to 25,000, or go to nexteraenergy.com to apply. No one wants to think about it, but winter is here. Make sure your vehicle is ready at one of the 3 locally owned Jiffy Lubes of Fargo. Oil changes are the #1 maintenance item that's neglected. At Jiffy Lube of Fargo, it's easy. No appointment needed. Just drive up and drive in for your signature service oil change and a free charging system check to ensure your vehicle will be ready when you are. Jiffy Lube of Fargo, where you can do more in a jiffy. Jiffy Lube of Fargo, proudly serving the metro area for over 40 years.
You're listening to your home for NDSU athletics.
Lipke to the 10, cut to 5, shot in there, baby!
Bison 1660.
Here with you inside the Theraldson Ethanol Broadcast Center. Theraldson Ethanol has recently partnered with GPRE Inc. to build GP Turnkey Theraldson Ethanol LLC. GP Turnkey will produce high-protein animal feed, and Theraldson Ethanol produces roughly 400 tons of livestock feed per year. Online, theraldsonethanol.com. Andy and Micah in here with you. We'll be back in again tomorrow. Rob Hipgon with NDSU men's basketball. They play tomorrow night at 8 p.m. against Denver. The women's team tips off at 7 p.m. tomorrow night at home against Denver. But let's go back and do what we did in the first hour. We did our 2022 NDSU Golden Globe Awards. And we did a bunch of the Offensive Player of the Year, the Defensive Player of the Year, and the Best Director of the Year, which is really the Best Coach. I thought Cody Morgan deserved that. You said Matt Entz, both very good deserving candidates, I thought. So let's do a couple more, because we got a couple more categories to hit for our NDSU 2022 Golden Globe Awards. There's always the Best Actor in a Supporting Role. So who's the Best Offensive Player in a supporting role that maybe didn't hear about as much, or a player that got in sparingly, but you thought had a really good year and a bright future? Ooh, I'll give you mine. Brandon Westberg. Wasn't a starter right away. You've seen him start because Jalen Sundell's got hurt before. Well, Jalen got hurt, unfortunately, this year. And Brandon stepped right in at center and did exactly what we've seen him do, what we've become accustomed to. And I think he played at a level where you're saying next year when Jalen's healthy, could Jalen maybe play guard? And Jalen's been a phenomenal center. And not that he couldn't play center, but Brandon's done such a good job there. You're like, well, we could keep him there and put Jalen somewhere else. Maybe that's your best 5 because he played so well at center.
I'm going to move the goalpost just a little bit so then it can fit into the player that I'm choosing. It's Bison 1660's very own Zach Mathis, because the pass game was the supporting role of the run game, the main focus of NDSU's offense. Zach Mathis coming up with big catches, big plays all season long. He started off the year hot, and he ended the year very, very well as well. So I choose Zach Mathis.
For highs in receptions and yards in that championship game. And I would agree with you.
I would say he's the leader of that receiver room, no doubt about it, and excited to see him back next year.
I'm telling him that you said he is a supporting role player.
Well,
I'm just kidding.
The main focus is the run.
The main focus of the passing game, but the main focus is he had the run. And he was really, really good. You can't not say he was. On the defensive end, is there a supporting role player? Best defensive player in a supporting role? Again, I'll go first. Give you time to think about this one. I think defensively, you had some players step in throughout the year. I'm going to go there with Dom Jones. I think I just took yours.
That was the one that
played
first
a
came to
much
mind.
different role about midway point of the season, started playing some of that nickel, and a player that I agree with Michael Tutsie. He's going to be playing at one of the safety spots next year and make a huge impact. Remember, he was the leading interceptor, team lead in interceptions in that spring season as well when he played. So I expect big things from Dom, but he was a very fun kind of chess piece for David Braun this year.
I'm going to go move the goalpost again. I'm going to choose two players because of the role that they played. Jackson Dudenheffer and Cody Heisman at the D tackle. The way that they grew throughout the year, the plays that they're making in the playoffs, especially that fumble that was caused, I believe, by Heisman and almost turned into a touchdown for the defense. So I'm going to choose the combo of Jackson Dudenheffer and Cody Heisman, just the way they grew and improved throughout that year.
They're players I'm excited about their future. Kind of young. You can see the talent there. You just need it to really come through a bit more. There's always the award for best motion picture or best series of film or TV series. So let's do the best picture, which would be the best game. What was the best game this year for NDSU football, Micah Bindi?
I think we're going to have the same answer here.
Okay.
It's got to be the national semifinal game.
Barnett Ward was pretty good.
I don't think there was as thrilling of a game, as nail-biting of a game as that one this year. The performance that coming back in the first half, down 16-0, and then getting the lead at the half, and then just the back and forth in the second half the whole way, and then Dawson Weber with the game-sealing interception. I'm choosing that one as the best motion picture of the NDSU football season.
That's a hard one to beat. I'll go with a different one. That would have been my pick. I'll go different. Other one that was up there for me, November 19th. Against that team up the road, against UND, to win 42-21, to do what they did in that game as well. It's a dominant win against your in-state foe. Get up 14-0 early. You score 14 points in the first, the second, and the third quarters, and just one of those most dominant efforts by this Bison team. Remember, that was pretty much right away when you didn't have Hunter Lipke. You're kind of searching for a little bit of answers there. Kobe Johnson, 115, 93 from Cam, 83 from Tamarick as well, 33 yards from Jalen Bussey. The running game in vogue, 63 total yards of rushing. That's a pretty good performance, too. That's up there for me, at least a nominee of Best Pictures.
I would say so, and I think we could have had the same answer for that one, to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
If you're going for, nail-biting game, but you could, moving the goalposts, just the best performance out of the team, that was one of the best, because just a through-and-through game, a full 60 minutes that one felt like, especially holding UND to only 14 points in that game. Didn't seem like UND could get anything going.
Yep, and did it against a good team, a playoff team as well. UND was a playoff team, able to beat them and beat them resoundingly. Now it's at the end of the season when you're thinking, okay, NDSU playing pretty well. They got that result against that team, so there you go, our 2022 NDSU Football Golden Globe Awards. I can't wait till the Oscars now, and I'll go back behind that desk and I'll slap Micah. Should we do that? We should plan something, a little stunt.
I've been slapped before. It'd be nothing.
Yeah, you and me both slap Rob.
No, a tri-slap. Everyone slaps. One person slaps each other, a slap triangle, so we're all slapping with our right hand, and then it's just like a wave.
Maybe I just take water and throw it at Rob across the desk or something like that. We'll workshop something to get the ratings up. That's what it was with Will Smith. It's a ratings thing. We got to get the ratings up. So that's what we'll try and do for the Oscars when that comes up in the future. Take our final break, though. We'll come back and wrap up the show here. No more final breaks, actually. We will not take a final break. We're good. I got us back on track.
We got back on track.
Oh, wow. Look at me.
It's an amazing thing.
It really is
our
an
leader.
Amazing thing. There you go. Well done. That's true. Yeah. Wow, I'm good at this. Radio Pro. We do have a couple people that have chimed in as well on our text line throughout the day. Roger in West Fargo says, I think NDSU should keep MT, being Michael Tutsie, around and put him to work as a recruiter. Great guy, great player. And also to recruit the state of Indiana, right? Yeah, get back into that state. Why not? Yeah, that was a really cool story, though. His dad knew someone who knew coach, and you kind of find your way onto the roster that way. And it was a good question as well from John. How did you get recruited? So that was an interesting one. But, there is an opening at defensive coordinator. Just Michael Tutsie. Just write for it.
Throw your name in the hat.
You should, right?
Right there.
If you don't trust yourself, nobody will. You got to stand up for yourself and say, one of the best defensive players, why not?
He would be an amazing coach.
He would be. And if the NFL thing doesn't work out, which I hope that works out for him too, he'd be a great player. He would be a tremendous coach, especially at that high school level, maybe right away, because he's teacher. I think his community story about a young boy who was in a class that he was student teaching, who looked up to him, and he loves that kind of stuff. Absolutely loves it, lives and breathes for it. So I think that would be a really cool area for him to kind of start his coaching career too. But he'd be great at the college level if he wants to. And I'm sure somewhere down the road, maybe even early on here, a Coach Entz would say, yeah, we can bring you back in some sort of role. Absolutely.
You can see the easy transition from teacher to coach, and his love of football and his knowledge of the game and the way he speaks, how he can articulate himself in a very respectable manner and make it make sense to people like me, where I can learn about the game of football from a guy like Michael Tutsie.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Tutsie's great, and he'd be great at teaching people that next generation of Bison athletes as well. So looking forward to seeing what happens in his career. Hopefully, though, that NFL dream of his will work out as well, as he's training down in Nashville, heading out tomorrow for all of that stuff. Here at the end of the show, big thanks to Aaron Torres. Thanks, of course, to Michael Tutsie. Thanks to all of you for listening and chiming in during the show. Tomorrow, fun show ahead as well. Dan Hayes of The Athletic will stop by, Twins beat reporter. It's official. Carlos Correa passed the physical. I don't know how thorough it was from the Twins. Probably one of those security guards is just like, yep, check. Okay, you're good. Yeah, quick check. You're good. Go on through. Had a press conference, I believe, today as well. So Dan Hayes of The Athletic will talk to us about Carlos Correa, maybe what's next for the Twins. Quick Twins conversation. Haven't had that in a long time. The pitchers and catchers report in like a month, believe it or not.
Getting to baseball season.
Getting very close. NDSU baseball getting going here in about a month as well. So Dan Hayes and also Jeff Wald, Fox 9 on the Cities, preview a little Vikings-Giants, a little NFL playoff discussion as we're on the cusp of the first round of the NFL playoffs. All that tomorrow for you on the show. But right now, if you want to call in for some NDSU women's basketball tickets, we got those for you as well. NDSU women's basketball versus Denver. Caller number 3 wins a 4-pack of tickets, a family 4-pack of tickets to NDSU women's basketball tomorrow night at the Shack against Denver, 7 p.m. tip-off on that one. Caller 4 to 701-476-1660. Win a 4-pack of tickets to NDSU women's basketball. Caller 3 to 701-476-1660. Thanks a lot today, Bison Nation. Talk with you again tomorrow from 11 to 1.
Corwin Public Wholesale is conducting a special used vehicle buyback. Any used car, truck, or SUV, we will buy it. Trying to trade your vehicle and not getting what it's worth? We will buy it. Need some extra cash? We will buy it. Whether it's worth $500,000 or $50,000, we will buy it. We want to buy your vehicle. Corwin Public Wholesale, right on the price, right on the I-29 frontage road, Fargo.
Invest in your community with Epic Companies. Hey, this is Mac. Have you been looking to diversify your portfolio and dive into real estate? We offer multiple types of investing through our mixed-use buildings and entertainment plazas. If you are an accredited investor and interested in hearing more about the investment process and how you can be part of enhancing the quality of life in the area, visit epiccompaniesnd.com to review our investment options. That's epiccompaniesnd.com.
Men's Hair Company is already super convenient with 5 locations in the FM area. But now, Men's Hair Company has a new app to make it even easier to get your appointment. Yes, you can actually get an appointment on their free app, not just put on a waiting list. Download the free Men's Hair Company app today. Just search for it in the App Store.
Experience the difference at Men's Hair Company. Visit one of our 5 FM locations or check us out online at menshairco.com. Men's Hair Company. Grooming for guys.
Hi, I'm Grant Nelson, NDSU Bison basketball player. Whether it's playing basketball or driving in my car, I want to do everything to the best of my ability, on the court and off the court. So when I'm in the car, I up my game with the Drive for Less program from Nodak Insurance. I could save up to 30% on my premium just for driving safely. To me, that's a slam dunk. Download the Nodak Insurance app today.
Red River Commodities is proud to be your local middleman between their trusted growers and their wildlife food manufacturing customers. With their top-of-the-line facilities, their cutting-edge technology, and comprehensive quality control, they produce the highest quality products locally. Red River Commodities Wildlife Division produces ready bird mixes and chicken treats, including Stokes, Valley Splendor, Audubon, and Pecking Order. Available locally at Lowe's and Fleet Farm. Learn more about all Red River Commodities products at redriv.com.
Hey, business owners, you have your banker, you have your insurance guy, but do you have your door guy?
Now you do. DavTech Window Services also specializes in commercial door and window repair and replacement. DavTech is proud to be known for their excellent commercial services as on the NDSU campus. Choose the door and window experts that will deliver top-rated products as well as the experienced technicians that do it right the first time. A decade of service with a century of experience. Online at DavTechWindowServices.com. That's DavTechWindowServices.com.
Campers, fifth wheels, travel trailers, ice houses, you want them, and Adventure RV has them. It's The Heat is on sale, January 12th through 14th. Check out the lowest prices of the year on all makes and models. Come see the new travel trailers by Winnebago, Shasta, and Coachman. 90 days, no payments for qualified buyers. And they have inventory. The Heat is on at Adventure RV, across from the Fairgrounds, Main Avenue, West Fargo, or AdventureRVSales.com.
Join the Adventure RV.
Quit hitting snooze for the same old thing every single day.
Oh no.
There's more to life. What about a career in the hottest and most exciting industry in the world? A career at Radio FM Media selling audio, digital, and event marketing is for people that are self-driven, personality plus, multitasker, persistent, have a creative streak, and love the idea of having a career instead of a job. This is a six-figure sales job for highly motivated salespeople.